like a samurai. I have sex to block the rage. You have sex to feel the pain. We're not the same, we're opposites. The pit inside your soul is fucking bottomless. And kill me slow, I wanna feel it. Blade so sharp, can cut still with it. Blood runs red, it's romantic. Left a score, no one wrong dead. You murder me, I don't know. You're on the run, baby, but you cannot hide. You daydream of a homicide. You come on hard, baby, like a samurai. You murder me, I don't know. You're on the run, baby, but you cannot hide. You daydream of a homicide. You come on hard, baby, like a samurai. You want it, you got it. You hurt me, I'm dying. Look what you started. Love to be violent. Heart on the table, it's turning black. Left me for dead, you know I'm turning back. Kill me slow, I wanna feel it. Blade so sharp, can cut still with it. Blood runs red, it's romantic. Left a score, no one wrong dead. You murder me, I don't know. You're on the run, baby, but you cannot hide. You daydream of a homicide. You come on hard, baby, like a samurai. You murder me, I don't know. You're on the run, baby, but you cannot hide. You daydream of a homicide. You come on hard, baby, like a samurai. You come on hard, baby, like a samurai. You come on hard, baby, like a samurai.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Brian Mansell Show. As always, I am your host, Brian Mansell. I'm a sports media professional who's been in the industry now for a couple years, and I've got a podcast or a vodcast, whatever you want to call it, that talks about nothing really but football now. We talk about college football, NFL, anything in between there, whether you want to go into the spring football leagues that could be developing down the line. Whatever it is, we cover it, we talk about it, and we're about around the corner from draft time. So you're going to see some more scouting videos, some more highlight breakdowns of week by week, the bowl game stuff. We'll be doing all of it. So keep an eye out for all that stuff. That's going to be coming out in the next few days, especially starting with this week's games. Keep an eye out for all that. It's going to be all over YouTube if they allow it and, don't do the whole copyright thing. But again, as always, we always have a fun time here. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, we just hit 20 followers recently. I just can't be anything more than grateful because we've been working so hard to really make this thing work. A lot of fine tuning goes into making this thing happen. And I can't do it without you guys. So thank you all so much for helping us hit 20. Next goal is to hit 30. Let's see if we can hit 30 followers next. Again, thank you all so much for all the love and attention. Now, today, I'm sure you guys see by the way I sponsored this, this is college football imperialism. Now, if you guys haven't seen it before, I'll show you guys a couple clips before we get started of what that kind of looks like. I'll use a couple other YouTube creators as references. The main two that I usually watch a lot of who do really great work, that would be Bordeaux and Natty Cash. The two of them have done a great job with the imperialism content. Some of them with the luxuries that come with being able to use college football revamped, which unfortunately I'm unable to use to make this happen. So I'm going to have to use my good old friend Natty Cash to really make this thing happen. So I will show you guys what Natty Cash, how he does his imperialism stuff, and then we will connect that to what everything else works. So I'm going to mute the video so you guys get a good feel for how that looks, to understand really how this is going to work with 259 teams. So let's start here first as we go to the face cam and full screen. This is what you guys see. This is what I see. We're going to show you guys what this looks like here on the bottom. This is the map that he was using. This is Natty Cash's video he did. If you guys don't already follow him, make sure to give him some follows. He's a great YouTube creator. Does a lot of good stuff like this based out of Canada. Love all the work he does. He's one of the inspirations behind me going down this route. So here's a good feel for how it works.
Today we are here to do a daunting task. You may have seen on the internet people doing imperialism, descriptions about the United States, whether it's NFL, NCAA football, but I am taking on the ultimate test. The ultimate test to see who is the best NCAA basketball program in the country. If you look at this map, you might recognize the many different NCAA basketball programs.
Now, as you guys can see, this is not what we're going to do. We're not going to go down the full route of, everything filled in this map and they're just fighting each other. No. I'm going to do a little bit differently than what Natty does. I'm going to make sure it's all relegated down to the counties. The counties you are in determine what you'll do and how far you go. Because, again, you want to expand as much as you can, but you also want to limit the amount of opponents you face because of the high risk that you lose. Especially if you're a smaller school who's not very strong or successful. You want to last as long as you can. You want to try to not get involved in any fights. This is the best way to do it. This is the best strategy. Here's a little overview of how his is going to work. It's very similar to mine.
Montana here. Others, right, have to be crammed into small little places like LA or other places that are along here. For example, Philadelphia, Washington. Okay. If you don't know what an imperialism save is, well, I'm here to show you. Here I've got a spinner, and it's got all 362 college programs that are on.
Well, thank goodness we have 103 less than that. So we shouldn't have to do this as long as he does, but it took him 19 different videos to make this happen.
Here. So what I will do...
But since we're doing a longer stream than usual, longer videos, it'll be different. We'll be able to do more with it than he was able to do with short 20-minute videos.
I will spin this wheel, and I will spin this arrow. Then I go back and I'll look at this map. I'll find a program. That program, depending on what direction the arrow is pointing, will take on that team. I will use this NCAA game sim program to...
Now this program's the same one I'm going to be using because unfortunately I don't have the same access to college football revamped and they won't have all the same FCS schools that you would expect. So in order to do this the proper way to get all D1 schools, we have to do it through this system. They only go up to the FCS. They don't go down into D2, D3 programs. If that were possible, I would absolutely do it too and make this a super unnecessarily long series. But I'm not going to do that. We're only going to the FCS. That's it. So this is all D1 football programs. But here's an example of how it would work. He's going to show you more about
each of those games. Story will get taken over by the opponent. And we'll keep doing that one by one until we have one team that has taken over all of America. So, with that in mind, I know it's a daunting task. Let's get ourselves started.
So here's a quick example of how this works.
Here we
He's
go.
going to show
Let's
you
go
real
with
quick
the
how
first
this works.
spin. The first team here we are going to start with is the Delaware Fighting Blue Hens. They seem to start here in the on the East Coast here with a few different possibilities of neighbors. I think probably the one you'd want to avoid is Villanova. Well, let's take a look. We'll spin the arrow, see what direction Delaware is going to take them on. And we're going to go to the northwest. If we take a look at the map here, northwest, that means they're going to take on Bucknell.
So now they play Bucknell.
So
now you're
just
going
how
to the
you
simulator.
see that this program works, okay? Anytime that I spin a team, that's going to become the away team. So that will become Delaware. And the home team will become the team that is being attacked, which in this case is Bucknell. Okay, I'm going to put on the play-by-play. See, if you want to watch player stats, you can, but play-by-play, I think, will give us a good idea here. So what will we see? If you look at this, wow, what a close score. Bucknell ends up taking it by 1 point, 72 to 71. See that Bucknell was leading for most of the time here, but Delaware was able to bring it right back and actually get about a 6 or 7 point lead before squandering it, and Bucknell ends up being the winner. So look at that. So Bucknell will take over all of Delaware's territory. And just like that, the Delaware Blue Hens are coming off the map. I'm going to try to maintain as much of the state borders as I can. I know I'm going to end up coloring through some of the counties here, but at least we'll keep the state borders so we can see Bucknell here. has now taken over this land, but has also then, hit the East Coast already by taking parts of Delaware, New Jersey.
So essentially, we're going to cut it off right there. That's the way this will work. If you're an attacking team and you win, you get that defending team's territory. If the defending team wins, you lose, you're eliminated, and they take your territory. It's the fastest way to do this. However, we're going to merge another territory concept that he doesn't have here because there's no open space on the map. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at that real quick and see what he can do. We're going to go to Bordeaux's page. He's going to have some nice stuff here for his Imperialism series. He did one only a month ago, the most updated.
But we all love Imperialism because any of these 125 teams could win it all. And let's just say the fact that I'm wearing an Arizona jersey proves that to be true. Next up is Nevada, and they have been atrocious this year, so I doubt they stand a chance against the Oregon Ducks. But again, technically...
So again, he does college football revamp. We're unable to do that, but let's take a look at this map so you guys get a view for what it looks like. If they want to make a deep run
in this thing, they're going to have to step up their level of play.
So you now see these empty states up here. So essentially, let's say Minnesota's going to expand. They get landed on. They say they're going to go into the West. They're going to take over this empty territory. They'll expand there. They don't have to face anybody. But it leaves them more exposed to attacks. So in this case, they could be attacked by Wyoming. They could get Nebraska, Iowa State, Iowa, or even Wisconsin. Any of those squads can take them at that point because they took this territory. So they'll add in a threat in Nebraska and Wyoming, so they're more vulnerable. It's very similar to that, except there are counties involved. So it's individual counties breaking that down, expanding the proper way a game would work. It's very similar to the game of Risk. You keep going until you're the last team standing and you have full world domination. Except in this case, it's dominating the entire country. Once you've dominated the entire country and you're the last team standing, you win the whole thing, and you're crowned the greatest college football team in America. And we've seen some crazy stuff. Like he said, he did it last year, and Arizona won. This year, I believe the winner was, for his video, sorry to spoil, but in the end, his team that won was Alabama. Alabama ended up winning it. Wyoming got absolutely obliterated. Alabama ended up being the number one nation, the number one college in the end. So we're going to try to do something similar to that. That's the intention. If you guys are excited for this, trust me, you're going to like this next thing I'm going to show you. We're going to do this through the highlight scene. More than anything else, I think this is the best way to do it. Forgot to edit the date, everybody. Sorry. Today's date is the 16th. And with that, we're going to take a look at the YouTube window, which is typically what I use to make sure that we've got everything figured out. So if we're going through the browser thing, we're going to go through here. I'm going to show you guys the Paint app. Let's see if you guys can see it. I don't know if you guys can see it right now. Let's see. You guys can't see it. Okay. Trying to see how far up I can put this so you guys can see it all. I guess you guys cannot see it. Okay. So then we're going to have to stick with where we were. We're going to be right here. This is what you guys were seeing before. We're going to put this behind me, behind my video, which was the face cam, right in the back if we can, because, you know, OBS likes to act up very weirdly. There we go. This is what it'll kind of look like right here. For the most part, and that'll be just for the YouTube portions. And then when we go to the map, we'll have the map ready to go. My intention is to try and see if we can fit it in here, but you know, nothing is guaranteed these days. But here's the example. This is our wheel right here. 259 teams here that we're going to have on this map. All of them represented here, properly spelled, and made sure there was no errors and that nobody was left out. Everybody gets their attention. That's the important thing. That's what I was the most concerned about, was making sure everybody got their fair share. Now, in terms of what's going to happen to everything else, let me show you guys and see if we can finally get Paint 3D going. Still no. Let's take a look at, I still got my notifications page here in case any news breaks while we're here. But we're back in this wheel. If we do have to switch over, right, we will go over to the face cam screen. That's how you'll see it. So here's how you guys are going to see the map right now. As you guys can see, this is the map. It looks a lot of emptiness, a lot of gray, but the intention is you got to expand as much as you can. So if you take a look around, I'll show you guys each team in every state. In Washington, you've got 3 teams, the Huskies, the Cougars, and the Eastern Washington. Down here, you've got Oregon, Oregon State, and Portland State. Again, this is a mix of all D1 schools from the FBS and FCS. California's got, I believe, one of the most, I don't think they have the most teams in a single state in the country. I think that title belongs to Texas, but they've got a lot. They do have a lot of their own. This includes UC Davis, Sacramento State, Cal, San Jose State, Stanford, Fresno State, Cal Poly, UCLA, USC, San Diego Toreros, specifically, and the San Diego State Aztecs. In the great state of Nevada, you have the Wolfpack of Nevada and UNLV Rebels. Go to Arizona now. You've got the NAU Lumberjacks, Arizona State, and Arizona. In Utah, I got to see if I can remember all the names here. Some of these are hard to memorize, but you've got Utah State, Weber State, Utah, BYU, Utah Tech, and I believe this is Southern Utah. There's a mix of schools here. It's very hard to remember all of these. It's not easy. Come down here to Idaho. They have 3 teams alone. Boise State, Idaho, and Idaho State. Montana's got the Grizz of Montana and Montana State, the Bobcats. Wyoming has 1 team, that is the Cowboys. Now, typically, I know what you're wondering. You're saying, if there's only 1 team in the state, why not give them the whole state? Well, if that were the case, I'd have to make it so every state battles within themselves to have the right to be the representative of their state. I felt that wasn't necessary, so I'd rather leave open borders. Anybody can cross through anywhere to expand and escape. Speaking of expand and escape, take a look at Colorado. Colorado's got a nice little trap here. You got Colorado State with Colorado. Air Force got some space from them, and I believe this is Colorado. I think that's northern Colorado. Down here, New Mexico State and New Mexico. Texas, which I was telling you guys about, is the most insane state yet. But Hawaii's got the entire state. They're the only one that does because they have a bunch of islands. I felt it was the only state necessary that could have everything filled in. And if anybody does expand to them, I will be shocked. It'll be a while. They'll probably be one of the last teams remaining unless they're landed on. Now let's take a look here at Texas. Texas has, I believe, 22 total teams. If I can remember all the names, it'll be impressive. UTEP, Texas Tech, Abilene Christian. Let me see. I think that's Tarston State. Over here you have Texas A&M Commerce, North Texas, TCU, SMU, Baylor, the Texas Longhorns, Texas State, UTSA, along with, I believe that is the Lamar Cardinals. Oh, no, that is Incarnate Word. You have Texas A&M, Sam Houston State, University of Houston, Rice, Houston Baptist, Texas Southern. Then you've got your Prairie View A&M, Lamar, Stephen F. Austin. And I cannot remember one of them, but I think for the most part I got all of them. I think that's Tarleton. Tarleton State, I believe, is this one here. In Louisiana, shockingly, they have a good amount of teams too. Grambling State, Louisiana Tech, ULM. This is, I believe, the Northwestern State Devils. This is the McNeese State Cowboys. UL Lafayette, Nichols State, Tulane. That is the Southeastern Louisiana State Lions. Southern Louisiana State University, also known as LSU to the SEC. Take a look at these 2 states. Oklahoma's got Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, and Tulsa. In Arkansas, you've got the Razorbacks. Arkansas State, you've got Central Arkansas, and I believe that is Arkansas Pine Bluff. Kansas has two teams as expected, Kansas State and Kansas. You take a look here in Missouri, where I just realized I may have missed something on one of the logos. Let me make this correction now. They did not have any colors for their team, and I apologize. That is Lindenwood. But you've also got Southeastern Missouri. You've got Missouri State down here and Mizzou, as expected with those top teams. Nebraska's got 1 team. It is the Cornhuskers. South Dakota, you have the Jackrabbits of South Dakota State. You got the South Dakota Wolfpack. Down here you have NDSU, which is North Dakota State. Very popular, well-known school in the FCS. One of the top ones. And UND, which I believe is the Fightin' Hawks. I'm not exactly sure. But we'll know when we spin the wheel and land on it. Minnesota, you have the Golden Gophers and you have the St. Thomas Tommies as the main squads here. In Wisconsin alone, the 1 state, 1 team, the Wisconsin Badgers. Take a look at Iowa. You've got the Iowa State Cyclones, the Drake Bulldogs, the Iowa Hawkeyes, and the Northern Iowa Panthers, also known as the alma mater of Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner. I don't know if a lot of people know that. Illinois, Northern Illinois University, Northwestern. I believe this is the Illinois Fighting Illini. You've got Southern Illinois, that's the Salukis. That's the Leathernecks. I believe that is Western Illinois. I believe that's the Illinois State Cardinals is here. This is, I believe, Illinois Tech. I cannot remember for the life of me what that one is, but we will make sure that every team is covered. You can guarantee that. As we take a look at what happened here, we got a quick hi from Draysky Kyle. What's going on, man? How we doing? Again, if you're seeing me constantly click back and forth, I'm working off one computer, one PC. Best I could do. We drop down here now into, let's take a look at Indiana. Here you've got Valparaiso. You've got Notre Dame. You've got Purdue, Butler, Indiana, the Indiana State, and Ball State. Because they always be balling. I'm sorry for that pun. Let's take a look up in Michigan. You have Central Michigan, Michigan State, Michigan, Eastern Michigan, and Western Michigan. In Ohio, which I know we all don't want to go to, you have Toledo, Bowling Green, Dayton. I believe there's Miami of Ohio, the Redhawks, the Bearcats, Ohio State, Ohio, Akron, Kent State, and Youngstown State. Go down to Kentucky, and you've got Murray State, Western Kentucky, Louisville, University of Kentucky. I believe this is that's not Western Kentucky, that is Eastern Kentucky, the Colonels. And over here, I believe that is Morehead State. I believe that's Morehead. Go down here to Tennessee, and you've got Memphis, UTSA. Wait, is that UTSA? No, UT Martin, Austin P, Tennessee State, Mid-Tennessee State, Vanderbilt. Over here, I believe that is Northern Tennessee? Eastern Tennessee's over here. Tennessee, Chattanooga is down there. And this one, I cannot remember for the life of me which school this is. It will come to me when we get to the wheel. Again, you can't be perfect remembering 259 teams. It's just impossible. Ole Miss, Mississippi State. This is the Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils. Jackson State, Alcorn State, Southern Mississippi. Go down to Alabama now, and you've got South Alabama, Troy, Alabama State, Auburn, Jacksonville State, UAB, Samford, Alabama, Alabama A&M. I believe this is North Alabama. Go to Florida now. In Florida, again, we're going over every single state. I'm going to make sure I don't miss a single team so you guys know the full information of what teams are in here. And make sure to put down in the chat what your school is that you're representing here. Let's see it. Let's see what you will be representing in this contest. In Florida, you have the A&M Rattlers. You've got Florida State, Florida, Bethune-Cookman, Stetson, UCF, USF, FAU, FIU, and Miami. Take a look at Georgia. Not as many teams as I thought there'd be in Georgia, but you have Georgia Southern, Mercer, UGA, Georgia State, Kennesaw State, and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. This brings us into South Carolina, which had way more teams than I thought. Furman, Clemson, Presbyterian, Wofford, South Carolina State, Charleston Southern, the Citadel, and Coastal Carolina. Take a look into North Carolina now, and we've got some more interesting ones. I believe, I got to make sure I get these right. Got to try my best to make sure I can get these. I cannot remember for the life of me which one this is. I believe this is Gardner-Webb with the Bulldogs, Davidson, Appalachian State, Charlotte, Wake Forest, NC Elon, UNC, Duke, NC Central, NC State, Campbell, and ECU. Over here, can't remember the exact name of the school at the time, but I promise you it's maybe 9 or 10 teams. I can't remember offhand. Now, it looks like there's nothing in Virginia, but if you look very carefully, I went by the literal textbook definition of the way these states work. Counties in Virginia, actually, weird fact, they are municipal cities which are outside of the jurisdiction of the county they're in. So they may reside in their counties, but they are literally within the municipal cities. That's why I see a lot of colored dots that are really small here. That's the reason. Virginia Tech and I believe Liberty are the only schools that don't take up that kind of territory. Same thing with Richmond. But over here, VMI, the Keydets are down there. JMU's here. The Cavaliers are there. UVA. You go down to this corner, a lot of smaller ones. The William and Mary Tribe, Hampton. And then down here, you've got Norfolk State and Old Dominion. That is North Carolina. That is Virginia in a nutshell. West Virginia, only 2 teams. WVU and Marshall, the Thundering Herd. In Washington, D.C., you've got only 2 teams. Georgetown and Howard. Let's hope they don't face each other. In Maryland, you've got the Terrapins, the Navy Midshipmen, and you've got Morgan State. In Delaware, it's only the Delaware Blue Hens and Delaware State Hornets. Only 2 teams. In Pennsylvania, they've got more teams than I thought as well. Robert Morris, Duquesne, Pitt, SFU, that's St. Francis, PA, Red Flash. Penn State, Bucknell, Lafayette, Lehigh, Villanova, Temple, and Penn. And when you go to New Jersey, which people like to call the armpit of the Northeast, Rutgers, Princeton, and Monmouth. Now we go into New York, which had a lot of teams that I didn't even know there were about 11 teams here. As you can see, I'm repping one of the teams in New York, the Army West Point Golden Knights. Black Knights, I should say. Black Knights. I've been there many times to that stadium. It is one of the best places to be. If you're looking to go do some college football traveling, go see some games, I highly recommend you go see the Army Academy up in West Point. Absolute beautiful once-in-a-lifetime experience. You won't regret it. It's always amazing. Stony Brook, LIU, the Sharks, Wagner, Columbia, Fordham. Up here you have Marist. Keep going into upstate. You've got Buffalo, Cornell, Colgate, Syracuse, and Albany. Now we have to go down here and take a look at the rest of this area. I'm only going to zoom in not all the way so you guys can get a good feel of the map here. There are no schools in Vermont that actually support football at a D1 level. The Vermont Catamounts actually, I don't believe, even have a football program. They are D1, but they're only, I believe in every other sport they're D1, but in football they don't even have a team, so they don't qualify. And whatever colleges they have in Vermont, they don't have football teams either, or they're at D2 or D3 levels. So Vermont will not have a team in this. So it's an up-for-grabs state. But in Connecticut, you have 4 teams. Sacred Heart, Yale, Central Connecticut State, and UConn. In Rhode Island, there are 3 teams. Still shocks me that there are 3 teams in Rhode Island. Brown, Bryant, and University of Rhode Island. In Massachusetts, 6 teams. Merrimack, Harvard, Holy Cross, UMass, Boston College, and Stonehill. In New Hampshire, you have Dartmouth and UNH. And the last team, but not the least team, because they've probably got the biggest advantage of everybody here, it's the Maine Black Bears, holed up in Maine by themselves. They might have the biggest advantage next to Hawaii in this tournament. As long as they're not landed on and have to expand, they could last all the way to the end. They really could. So that is all 259 teams here that we will be having in this tournament. And thank you for the new follow. We are now at 21 followers. 9 more to go to hit 30. 9 more. Thank you guys so much. We are now at 259 teams. Only one can remain. It is 7:10 here on the East Coast. And I'm going to finish this bottle of water and we're just going to get started. And I'll show you guys for real how it should work. Again, shout out to the guys who really started this and made it a big thing on YouTube. That is to Bordeaux. And that is also a shout out to Natty Cash. They really did a lot to make this thing work. We're going to use a simulator for this. Unfortunately, we don't have the access to College Football Revamped, and they don't have all FCS schools. And we're going to have, I have 2 more bottles of water on standby, so you know I'm not leaving here. This station. It's like a battle station for me. Now I'm going to ask you guys a question. Do you guys want me to play some music in the background while we do this, or do you want to stick with like what we're doing right now? It's up to you guys. We can do that however you want to do it. Music in the background, do it just talking like this, whatever you guys feel is best. We'll just roll with that and have it be that. I have no problem playing music. Now be prepared. I might have some ads here, so maybe it may not be the best idea. But it's something I could do. But let's just get in here and start off with the highlight screen. We're going to start here to start the spinning of the wheel. When you guys are ready, we're going to go now and do this. Are we ready, y'all? Here's the first team to kick off our Imperialism series. There could be a lot of expansion. Anything could happen. For the most part, we should expect an expansion unless we get a team that we don't expect. Well, they should be able to expand. This is the Illinois Fighting Illini, one of the top teams here, an FBS school if you must. Getting their first chance to expand or even face territory. They're going to go up to the Northeast. And by going to the Northeast, this will put them... They're going to go right next door over here. So Northeast for them will be going this way. They're going to miss this corner, go right into this territory, which means the Illini have started their pursuit. Actually, you know what? Before we even get started, I'm going to take a quick screenshot so I don't mess this up and make sure that the whole map is saved. So give me 1 second. I want to make sure, because if I do any kind of promotional stuff with this, I want to make sure they have a good view of what the map looks like. You know, that's really what I'm worried about the most, because promotionals are very important in this. So let me see if I could download this. Make sure it's saved. And we're going to hit back. Actually, you know what? It might not save. Give me 1 sec. We are going to have to wait. In the meantime, while we wait to see if it saves, we're going to be taking a look at what's going on right now in the NFL. I know we haven't done much NFL talk lately. But how about this? We have some interesting things going on. The Colts are absolutely pummeling the Steelers, and they're losing. The Colts are basically in full control right now. It's like Mike Tomlin doesn't care about his job anymore. I'm a little fascinated by that. I didn't see that coming. I don't think anybody really saw that coming. But let's keep looking and see if there's anything else we could talk about while I wait. Because this is just, the saving process could take a real long while. Hopefully it doesn't. It gets resolved quickly so that we could be able to do this. Because I just realized I should have just taken a screenshot. And I didn't do that. In the meantime, let's take a look at what's going on in the football world. So earlier today, we do know that there was the overtime victory for the Bengals. They're all in like full control. Like nobody's stopping them. So congratulations to Cincinnati. That kid balled out today. Jake Browning had himself a hell of a game today. Hell of a game. Great way for him to take control and really, keep this team alive. They beat the Vikings in overtime. Yes, it is the Vikings, but it doesn't matter to me. The Vikings are going to still put up some decent numbers, and they did. They forced an overtime, but in the end, Browning looked like he was calm, cool, and collected, and they got it done. 27-24 the final. Bengals are 8-6 now. Vikings are in panic mode at 7-7. Which doesn't sound normal to say, but I mean that very seriously. They are very much in panic mode right now. Things can go so wrong so quickly for them. Just like me making this mistake and realizing this could take up to 10 minutes for this to save. Because it is a massive file. There are 259 image files in this thing. And a lot of colors used to fill in territories. So this could take a while for it to recover. Could very much take a while. So let's see what happens. Hopefully it's soon. But let's take a look at what's going on in the Indianapolis game. Indianapolis up on Pittsburgh 27-13 and driving at the Pittsburgh 34 right now. 5:13 to go, up by 2 touchdowns. Minshew been a baller today. 18 of 28, 215, 3 touchdowns. Trubisky on his end, 16 of 23, 169, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Once again, the reason why he is not a starting quarterback in the NFL is that very stat line. So while we wait for all this, I'm trying my best to save some time here because this is taking a very, very long time to... it's taking a very long time to save. I should have known better. That's on me. We're going to see if I can really improve on that. We're going to try our best, but... while we wait, let's keep a look. Anything else in the breaking news territory? There is going to be another football game at, I believe, it was supposed to start at 7. Oh, no, it's not. It's starting at 8:15. 8:15 tonight, also another game. Denver and Detroit. I don't know if you guys wanted me to do play-by-play for that. I apologize if that was what you guys were hoping for. I just wanted to get this series started on the best note possible. And right now we are still waiting for this file to save. It is taking a lifetime to get done. A lifetime. So what we'll do is, we'll sit here in the solo shot. If you guys remember this is the old graphic we used back for week 13. I'm going to have to upgrade this and update this for all the new stuff we do upcoming. But we'll just stay on this screen for now to have a conversation. So let's answer some questions that you guys have right now. What are your thoughts currently on the state of the NFL? Do you think that, what teams do you think are going to make it in? Who's going to miss out? Like, where do you currently stand on how teams are going to shape out, how the playoff picture will shake out by the end of the season? Because there's questions about the Bengals. There's questions about Detroit, if they're going to keep the hold on the division, which, at this rate, probably. But anything could happen. Denver on a big surge, recovering, making full, massive moves. And then you've got Houston, who doesn't have C.J. Stroud tomorrow because of a concussion. Then you've got the Seahawks in this weird limbo spot because Geno's not healthy. And Drew Lock is not doing his job winning in the football games in his relief. You got the Chargers in full freefall mode. They're out of the picture. You got the Saints, the Bucks, and the Falcons all fighting for a playoff spot in the NFC South to win the division, and are all still just one game out of a wildcard spot. In the end, this is just very, very wonky. Wonky is the word I'm going to use. But you also got the Dolphins, who had an interesting loss to the Titans and now have to rebound from that loss against the Jets. And that's another team who's not really going to make the playoffs, but they're a team that could do a lot and spoil some hopes and dreams of people. Because no matter what, Rodgers is apparently coming back. As the map is officially fully saved, I've been waiting for that. I'm going to take the quick screenshot now, just to make sure I got that taken care of. Make sure I got this taken care of here. Make sure the map is fully secure and saved. Okay. We made the snap. Okay, we did it. We were able to save the map. Now we're going to go this way and show you guys what it looks like now. Starting off again with Illinois. This is the intention. I cannot believe it took that long, but we got it. Here we are. Illinois is the one that expanded. They're going to the northeast, which will put them, let me see if I can find my mouse because it doesn't really stand out. It's right here. It'll be going into this territory. So for that reason, they're going to take this. And we're going to erase some territory here. So we're going to take this pen. We're going to brush right over this. Just to make sure that we got everything so that looks clean. And that we don't miss out on any of the borders. There we go. Come down here. Make sure we got that too. Done. So now Illinois has expanded a little bit. And this is what it looks like in reference to the map. Doesn't look like it expanded too much. But it is a size upgrade nonetheless. And so that now brings us back here. We don't get to remove them. They're going to stay on the map here. No problems. Let's spin the wheel. So again, second team, as you guys are going to see, expansion's a big thing here. Let's see how far they can expand. But here we are, Southern Utah Thunderbirds. That's who I thought they were, Southern Utah. The Southern Utah Thunderbirds are in a little bit of a situation. They got one guy to the south. As long as they don't go south, they should be able to expand. And they're going north. And by going north, they should be perfectly fine. They're going to have nothing around them. This territory is all theirs. Thunderbirds have the territory. All good for them. Make the thickness a little bit bigger. Let's see if I can get this over here. Perfect. And we're good. So, Thunderbirds now have control of this territory. I'm not going to expand their logo. We're going to leave it as is. Not until they get bigger. I want to make sure they stay in their county until they get large enough territory that I can physically expand it without impeding on where their capital is, where their home base is. But that's where we're at. Ooh, I messed that one up. Okay. And now we go back to the wheel. No fights yet. No major conflicts. These teams should be grateful. These conflicts, you want to avoid as many as you can. And Idaho, I don't think they got anybody around them. They should be able to expand here. There should be simple expansion. They're going to go to the Northeast. And for Idaho, going to the Northeast would mean from their spot, I mean, that would mean kind of like this, but that means they're taking this territory up here. If they would have went to the West, they would have absolutely had a matchup with Washington State and probably gotten beaten too. So they got very lucky here. Very, very lucky. Once again, nobody wants to have to fight to start. Because the second that happened, you're asking to lose. It's just not a good feeling when you do lose your territory. So there you go, Idaho. We're gonna grow their size a little bit because this shouldn't impede on their county at the moment. Let's go like this, boom, shrink down that, and we'll go up this way. So Idaho now has bigger territory up in its handle of the state. And let's go back to the wheel. 259 teams still remain here. Nobody's been able to get into a fight yet. I'm sure some of you are looking for that. But here come the Kennesaw State Owls. This year they're in the FCS. Next year they'll be in the FBS. Big upgrade. Big. Can't wait to see what they do up in the highest level of football. I believe they'll be part of the Sun Belt Conference. As the wheel has them going to the west, slightly north. And by doing that, that's going to put them actually perfectly away from Georgia State and Georgia Tech. They're in good hands. That was the best case scenario for them. They're going to avoid some conflict here and get away with murder in this sense. They're going to be just fine. They survived to see another day. As we go ahead and head back to the wheel once again, like I'm saying, this is going to be mostly expansion you're going to see until there's less territory. Once there's less territory, it gets harder. As the Kansas Jayhawks are going to get their first crack at getting some expanding land. Their plan is to go to the Northwest. Let's see if that is a thing they can do. Can they go to the Northwest? Yes, they can. We just have to make sure it is a certain way. This is going like that. So you're talking like this. Yep. Okay. Got to figure out which county they're going to specifically, you know. Going right here. And that means that they are going to get a step closer to Kansas State, which I don't believe they want to go to them right away. Nobody wants to go face an opponent right away. It's not fun. Not the smartest thing to do. But the Jayhawks are a pretty strong team this year, so I won't completely knock them. They could probably take on Kansas State, but it's a bad in-state battle. Speaking of in-state battle, the Northern Illinois Huskies are on the board. So we're going back to the great state of Illinois. Not like anything like its cousin to the east, Ohio. They're going to go to the southwest here. And for them, going to the southwest would mean they're going to touch this territory here, right? I believe so. Yes, they're going to touch this territory down here. So once again, still no matchups yet. That could change. In a test run of this sequence, it took about 8 or 10 spins before we got our first matchup. So don't have hope, people. This could go wrong very quickly for any team. It's one thing to expand and get more land. It's another to have to face somebody for your right to survive. And for Southern, this could go very wrong. They share a county with LSU. If this faces to the south, we'll have our first matchup between Southern and LSU, and it looks like that's going to be the case. This is pointing to the southeast, and yeah, that's going to be against LSU. I don't see a way you can argue that this doesn't go against LSU. So we're going to have our first matchup between Southern and LSU. Now, in this case, the college football simulator, the home team is the team that is defending, that is LSU. What I always do is like to give some home field advantage here because home field is important. This isn't at a neutral site. If it's at neutral sites, I'd get it. It's not. So Louisiana State going up against Southern. And Southern University is going to do what they got to do to win. We're not going to hide the player stats. We are going to show the play-by-play to see how this game went. And in the end, LSU took an early lead quickly, 7-0. Went up 10-0. followed by a field goal at one point by Southern. But after that, it was nothing but LSU the entire game. A couple field goals here and there in addition from Southern. But in the end, LSU just blew them right out of the water. A hell of a game for LSU. 47-9 the final here. Southern had no chance. No chance. Harold Blood, the starting quarterback for Southern, 12 of 24 for 192. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Decent ground game performance from Kendrick Grimes, 13 for 80. And the kicker was also a star here. Joshua Griffin, 3 for 4. Longest kick being from 23. Oddly enough. The extra points, they didn't have to kick one. Jaden Daniels, the reigning Heisman champion, as we've recently found out, the Heisman winner this year. 20 of 30 for 478 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He played like a true MVP today. Jaden Daniels also leading rusher, 6 for 36 and a touchdown. So 5 total touchdowns for him. Malik Neighbors was a machine. 8 catches, 234 and 2 touchdowns. These two were the stars of the game, no doubt in my mind. But once again, the end result is LSU 47 and Southern 9. And with that, you guys know what that means. That means LSU is going to have to expand here. And that means they're taking over all this territory right here. And then I'm going to have to get rid of one of these states. We're going to just trash this. And LSU now has full control of the county. In Louisiana, Southern, the first team to be eliminated in this tournament. And just like that, we have 258 teams remaining. So 1 down, 258 to go. Gonna be wild. And the Northern Colorado Bears are next. Now they're in a very tight situation in the state of Colorado. They're going to be going to the Southwest, and I don't think that's something they wanted to draw. This is an FCS team. They're stuck between 2 FBS teams, and this is tough because if you're going from the central location, right? I believe that would mean they would be facing probably Colorado. Yep, they're going to have to face the Colorado Buffalo. Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes are going to be taking on Northern Colorado. This is not the intended start that Northern Colorado wanted to have. So Northern Colorado up against the Colorado Buffaloes led by Deion Sanders. We are submitting. And the winner of this one is, let's take a look at the play-by-play. Start out with a field goal by Colorado. 10-0, 13-0, 15-0 with a safety recorded. 22-0, a touchdown to Jimmy Horn Jr. from Shedeur Sanders, 22-0, and just absolute destruction. Colorado ended up leading 29-0 and won this one 29-0 over Northern Colorado. In this matchup, like you said, they give the history of the simulations and overtimes and all the historical matchups and simulations that have been run between these two teams. Overall for Northern Colorado, Jacob Sermon, 9 of 23, 90, no touchdowns, interception. Bad game for him. Decent game on the ground for David Afari, 10 attempts, 41. And when you go over to the passing side, a good game for Shedeur Sanders. 24, 31, 292, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And through the air, the top receiver was Dylan Edwards with 60 yards on 4 catches. No touchdowns. Touchdowns to Michael Harrison, Jimmy Horn Jr., and Xavier Weaver. Just great games from all of them. Mata also having himself some great kicks in this one. But in the end, the most important thing to take away is Colorado has beaten Northern Colorado, which means the Bears are next to leave. They are now going to be eliminated, and Colorado will take over all of this. This is now their territory. They now own it. It all belongs to them. But here's the bad news. Colorado State is now also surrounded. No matter where they go, they got to play. Well, they'd have to go into the western direction in order to get away from Colorado and from Wyoming. Can't go north, can't go east, can't go south. So an interesting situation unfolding now for them. Northern Colorado is now gone. We are down to 257. 2 teams gone. 2 teams gone. And the Villanova Wildcats have been selected. Now, if this were basketball, this would be a really exciting time and fans wouldn't have to be concerned. But that isn't the situation. They're facing to go to the southeast. Now, I remember you guys saw the map of where Villanova was. Villanova being here, going into the southeast, means they have 2 choices. They either go up against a fellow FCS opponent, or they go up against an FBS opponent. For Villanova, you want Penn. You don't want Temple. So let's see if we can look at the map and see for sure what they're doing. It says it's going like this. If it's going like this, it barely grazes Penn, and they're going to play the Quakers. So the Quakers are taking on Villanova. So Penn up against the Quakers. The Quakers up against Villanova. Wow, I cannot talk today. There we go. Show play-by-play. We're not going to hide the player stats. We're going to submit. Now, in this matchup, it looked like a lot of not really much scoring. Villanova takes a lead 3-0 here. The kick by Mercurio is good on 4th and 3. And then we end up tied at 3 thanks to a quick kick and play by Graham Gottlieb. So we're tied at 3. Villanova edges the lead again with another field goal on a long drive. Kick by Mercurio again is good. 3-6 lead. Graham Gottlieb ties it up, tied at 6. They're still tied at 6. A kick by Mercurio was no good. And then there was an interception by Aiden Sayin. And with that interception, Villanova was able to get a touchdown thanks to Connor Watkins' pass completion to Jalen Sanchez for 14 yards. It's 13-6. And neither team can really get it going. Villanova at one point gets the ball back. Get a couple little short moves here. And Mercurio gets another field goal. It's 16-6 Villanova. Then a quick touchdown by Pennsylvania makes it a 3-point game. Thanks to a 1-yard run by Isaac Chabet. And they're coming down the wire. And D. Will Barley for Villanova goes in the end zone, punches it in from 2 yards out to take a 23-13 lead and regain the 10-point lead. And the victory in the end as Villanova beats Penn 23-13. This is the first attacking team to win a game so far. In these simulations, you could tell it's very split. A lot could happen. It's not always even. For this game, decent performance from Watkins. 18 of 26, 221, a touchdown, no picks. On the ground, Jalen Jackson, 14 for 90, no touchdowns. D. Will Barley, 14-77, and a touchdown. Jaron Hayek was the top receiver, 82 yards on 4 catches. Mercurio needs his love and respect too, though. 3 of 4 on field goals, 2 extra points made. That man alone scored 11 points. He needs a lot of credit. On Penn's side, not a great performance from Aiden Sayin, 18 of 28, 239. He tried to give him a fight, but that one interception was costly. Isaac Chabet, the one reception. The top receiver was Malachi Hosley, who had 71 yards on 9 catches. Go to receiving. That's the rushing end. My fault. 9 attempts for 71 yards on the ground. For the receiving end, Alex Height, Bryce Myers were the top 2 receivers. 4 for 65, 3 for 60. 2 good kicks from Graham Gottlieb. And in the end, it was just Villanova pulling away in the end. Some costly turnover plays by Sayin for Penn ended up giving Villanova the cushion they needed to win this game safely. And that means Villanova takes over this territory of the Penn Quakers. If I'm a Quaker, I'm terrified. I am absolutely terrified. I would not want to face this team. Because the things they could do could ruin everybody's day. But it's too late now. The Penn Quakers are gone. Let's go take a look and find them here and get rid of them, can we? Let's make sure we do that. Go find those Penn Quakers. There they are, Quakers. are officially gone. Just heard something go off here. We're going to take a quick look back in the chat. I think that sounded like a follower. Thank you so much for the follow. 22 now. 8 more to go here on the channel. Thank you so much. We appreciate that a lot. We've just had 3 teams now eliminated, and there's so many more to go. But this is a good way to start. We're off to a good start. So Villanova expanding a little bit into the Philly area, taking out the Quakers. A lot of territory and field still left to fill. Let's see what happens. Let's spin the wheel, shall we? As I take a quick drink of water. Rutgers is getting active here. The New Jersey school. Considered a top football school in Jersey, but they got Princeton, who can say otherwise, and Monmouth could give an outside shot. Now, they're all very relatively close to each other, so we could have another matchup here. They're planning on going to the west, slight tilt to the north. Let's see what it says here. No, Rutgers is going to avoid a fight with Monmouth or Princeton. They're actually going to take over some territory here. That was the best scenario for Rutgers. I mean, you probably were going to beat the other 2 teams. But why not expand first? Make sure you got some territory of your own before you consider an expansion. So Rutgers, moving up and expanding a little bit here in the state of New Jersey. As you can see, they got a little bit larger, but considering the size of New Jersey, it's not much of a difference. So Rutgers avoids a face-off. But it's not necessarily over yet. Again, that could change at any point. But UTSA, the Roadrunners of Texas, they're in a bit of a tight situation. Texas has 22 teams. None of this will be easy. There's only one team that's going to come out of this state, depending on if you go over the borders or not. Only one Texas team can stand. And it looks like for UTSA, they're going to go to the north. They're going to go to the southwest. And for UTSA, they are down here. Going to the southwest would actually help them avoid Incarnate Word. They're going to avoid the Incarnate Word Cardinals and come down into this territory. If I am correct, yes. They're going to avoid it by going this way. So UTSA able to expand to the south somehow. And they're going to have this territory down here. So let's make sure we got the bucket ready, or I should say the pen ready, because we're going to clean up the borders just a little bit. Just to make sure people understand that they now have gone past the border and have this territory. So UTSA grabbing a little bit more stuff to the south. They now have the largest territory, what it looks to be, in the state of Texas. But let's see how long that lasts. We spin the wheel again. Like I said, we got blessed with back-to-back-to-back matchups here fighting. We might have a 4th one now with Rhode Island, because there's not much for them to go. That whole state is practically occupied with teams. And they're going to actually decide we don't want to stay in our state. We want to go to the west. So they're going to go to the northwest. Let's take a look at Rhode Island and see what that means. They're going to expand into Connecticut. So we have our first interstate expansion for Rhode Island. They're going to go into Connecticut. They're the first team to do this yet. Very impressive decision. But I don't blame them. This decision needs to be made. Now, in this case, just so everybody is aware, I will not block out and erase these state borders. These are important. I'll make sure these things stay as long as they can. But Rhode Island now expands into Connecticut. That could be something that can become problematic. But lucky enough, they have enough cushion where they shouldn't have to worry about anybody attacking in Connecticut yet. It's the teams within the state of Rhode Island they got to worry about. But let's put that to the back burner, as we're going to Iowa to see what the Drake Bulldogs can do. Now, Drake is an FCS football school. They would have to face an FCS school to really have a realistic shot to stay alive. And they're going to go to the southeast. And that means they're going to avoid a competition with Iowa State. They're going to move down. Again, a lot of avoiding of fighting so far. Schools are playing it pretty smart. This is the best way to do it. You don't want to fight too early. You want to make sure you can stay alive as long as you can. This expansion helps Drake. And let's see how long that lasts. It'll only help Drake in the long run. Drake? I know. The meme runs in my head 24/7 these days. Let's go to North Carolina. The Tar Heels are in a little bit of a tight situation. A good football team. One of the best in the country. has to avoid some big fights if they can here. And they're going to go to the southeast. And I don't think that's going to help. I think this is going to give them a matchup. I'm pretty sure. Going to the southwest. Did they actually avoid a matchup? It's pretty sharp. We're going to go from the center. I honestly think that's going to clip. I think it's going to clip NC Central. I really do think so. It's a little too sharp. Yeah, it's going to be them versus NC Central. So NC Central is going to have to defend themselves against the UNC Tar Heels. If I'm being honest, it's a losing battle most of the time. In this case, we'll say North. Let's see if I can remember the North Central. I think it's North Carolina. There you go. Yeah, North Carolina Central is the home team. The away team is going to be UNC. If they're here. Nope, that's UMass Dartmouth. We're not doing that. UNC. Got it. We're going to show play-by-play. Don't hide the player stats. And there will be home field advantage for North Carolina Central. We want to give them kind of a fight here. Home field advantage is the only way to give teams a fair shake. UNC gets a 7-0 lead quickly thanks to a running play by Drake May for a touchdown. Nothing happens. UNC makes it field goal. 10-0 lead. 17-0 lead with a touchdown by O'Marion Hampton for 14 yards. Touchdown run. Then we have a field goal by Adrian Olivo to put some points on board for North Carolina Central. And then Hampton goes off. 80-yard run for a touchdown to make it 24-3. At this point, this game's practically over. The kick by Olivo's good. 24-6. They're trying to cut down lead with field goals, but that is never, ever perfectly good, I should say. But Drake May actually completes a 15-yard passing touchdown to O'Marion Hampton for his third of the game. It's 31-6 UNC. This game's all but over. But a touchdown by Davius Richard to Devin Smith for 31 yards gets him a little closer. A touchdown, 31-13. Don't want to make it look like too much of a blowout. And then another touchdown for Davius Richard to make it an 11-point game. This time to Quentin McCall for 9 yards. Another failed drive by UNC, followed by one by NC Central. And then another touchdown for UNC afterwards. O'Marion Hampton again for 29 yards. Receiving touchdown. That's 4 touchdowns on the game for him alone. 38-20. Penalties end up adding up a little bit, but in this case, NC Central does respond with a touchdown. Davius Richard to Latrell Collier for 66 yards, 38-27. But a field goal by Noah Burnett is good. It makes it a 41-27 game. This game's pretty much out of hand by this point. Another touchdown by Davius Richard to Jamari Taylor for 2 yards. Makes it 41-34. It's now a 7-point game. A 7-point game for UNC and NC Central. It is now a 4-point game because UNC couldn't score. NC Central gets within field goal range and makes a field goal. 41-37. And in the end, a touchdown on the final offensive drive by Connor Harrell puts it away. 48-37 the final. UNC wins it after it got really close for no reason. 48-37. UNC pulls out the victory. Now, for some reason, this matchup is always super close. I don't know why that is the case, but Drake May, 19 of 34, 288, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Not a phenomenal game for him, but it gets the job done. O'Marion Hampton had the game of his life. 20 attempts on the ground, 240 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Plus a rushing touchdown for Drake May and Connor Harrell. But receiving-wise, O'Marion Hampton had 80 yards on 5 receptions for 2 touchdowns. Collectively, that is 320 total scrimmage yards. MVP. MVP of the game. MVP. I don't know how, but MVP. And that's just what happens. They had injuries going into this one, as you could see. They did account for the injuries and the transfer portal people. That's kind of, I think, why this went the way it did. And in the NC Central passing game, Davius Richard, 29 of 36, 441, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He had himself a great game, balled out. It's a shame they came up short. Great games for Latrell Collier and Jacquin Davis, 7, 129, 6, 148. And shout out to Adrian Olivo, too. 3 of 3 and 4 extra points made. Total 13 points on his end from the kicking side. But in the end, it just wasn't enough. UNC was able to take out NC Central. The fact it was that close is a little scary. But I think they give it too much credit into the transfer portal for the reason why that happens. Doesn't mean I agree with it, but that's just what they do. I now have to figure out how I'm going to do this and lower the tolerance on this. Can I lower it enough? I'm going to do it just to a 1. There we go. Perfect. That's what I was looking for. I might have to lower the tolerance every now and then to kind of avoid destroying borders, but it does work. And now we've got the paintbrush to clean up the rest of the work. Done. All right, and UNC knocks out NC Central, which for some may be upsetting because you don't like North Carolina, but this does happen. So let's make sure NC Central is taken care of. The North Carolina Central Eagles are now eliminated. That is it for them. 255 teams remain. And we go into Northern Iowa. We're going to see the Panthers get a chance to expand as well. This could be fun. And I mean fun. And they're going to be going to the southeast, it looks to be. And by doing so, by going to the southeast, that will put them, I believe, right here. I think they're still going to clip here just because of really just how flat. It's flatter than it was expected to be. So UNI is actually going to just go over and expand a little bit to here. So it actually wasn't interesting because they had nothing around them. Great. So I look like a liar now. Thanks, UNI. But the Northern Iowa does expand. Here they are, right here. As you can see, the map is starting to take a little bit of shape at a time, but that's how it's expected to be. Spinning the wheel again. Okay, we're keeping an eye on the news as we go on with this. You know, there's a lot of teams here. I'm not expecting to get too far tonight. We're doing 3 hours here doing this. Hopefully we can go a good distance. But the North Dakota State Bison are next. And I don't believe they have anybody next to them. I think they have full range to expand anywhere they want. They're going to go south. Their intention is to go to south, slightly east. Very slightly east. And the very slightly is important because that means they're going to go over to this territory. Now, I couldn't find a more high-resolution version of the NDSU logo. This is the best I can do. Apologies to all the NDSU fans if they do end up going far. If they don't, oh well, there's a reason why it was low quality. But NDSU takes over more territory. That brings us back to the wheel again. This wheel can be very miserable. Very miserable. Maryland, the Terrapins, led by Talia Tagovailoa. Maryland's an interesting state to be in right now, but their plan is to go to the Northeast. And where does that put them? They're going up against Navy, folks. Another matchup. Maryland taking on the Navy midshipmen in Annapolis. This is going to be great. This is going to be great. And I'm saying great because I know how this is going to end. Maryland is going to win this game. But again, I don't want to get my hopes up. Anything could happen. Home field advantage still plays a factor because you are defending your own land. That is a big reason why we're still here with this. Now, so far, it's a very back and forth, not much scoring, but Navy does get on the board, making it a 3-0 game thanks to a kick by Nathan Kirkwood. Navy ends up scoring a touchdown with Alec Texa for 61 yards. A great run. 61-yard rushing touchdown. Navy leads 10-0. Navy makes a field goal shortly after. They're not able to do much on the offensive end until Talia Tagovailoa gets a 6-yard completion to Caden Prather for a touchdown. Leads down to 6. Quick 3-and-out for them. They get the ball back. Maryland scores a touchdown. This time a reception for Ty Felton, 10 yards. Maryland now has the lead 14-13. Long drive here for the Navy midshipmen, but they couldn't get close enough, and they had to punt. Same situation again. This time not much able to be done by Maryland. They punted away. Navy tries to go for a field goal. They are unable to make the field goal, and Maryland keeps their lead at 14-13. Quick 3-and-out for Maryland. Navy gets the ball. They get down to their own 38, and they end up punting. Give it back to Maryland 3 and out. Give it to Navy again. Navy's able to get to their 30. Maryland's 32. Make a field goal with Evan Warren, which was good. They now have a 2-point lead. Tagovailoa throws a pass, and it's intercepted on the first play of the drive. Right there, they now have it on the 20-yard line, and Navy's able to get a field goal out of it, make it a 19-14 game. A touchdown will win it now for Maryland. Unable to do something on the next drive. Same goes for Navy on the following. Then we go back to Maryland, who goes on a very long drive from their own 20 and scores a touchdown thanks to Caden Prather. 8 yards out, they have a 2-point lead. And Navy, with the chance to end it and take the game back, here in the final minutes, they were unable to get it done. They came up short on 3rd and 12. And in the end, Maryland fends off Navy to win this one. Maryland wins this almost every single time. This was a very close one in this simulation. But Talia Tagovailoa, 24 of 40, 273 and 1. Not his best game, but it was still strong nonetheless. Top receiver, Roman Hemby. Top rusher, too. Good for him. Great news for him. Keenan Prather had 2 touchdowns of his own receiving. Ty Felton had 1 as well. And when you go to the Navy side, Ty Lavatai, 6 of 13, 75, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Rushing-wise, Alec Texa was machine. 17 attempts, 165, 1 touchdown. Nobody could stop him. Both kickers did decent jobs, but in the end, Navy's unable to complete the comeback. They fall short by 2 points. So Maryland wins in the attacking effort, which y'all know what that means. Y'all know that Navy now has to lose everything. And it sucks because I'd like to have seen them go further, but these things happen, you know. You can't control it. So now Maryland has the lead. And that'll do it. So Maryland has bigger territory in their state. And it's actually becoming kind of noticeable on the map. Not big enough to really be like, whoa, that's big territory. Not like what Northern Arizona's got. Because what Northern Arizona got's almost criminal right here. But this will bring us back to the map. To the spinner. To the wheel. And I now have to race Navy. That's going to suck. I thought they'd last longer. But unfortunately, it's the luck of the draw, man. That's what happens. We're spinning the wheel. 5 teams now gone. 5 teams. The Florida A&M Rattlers have to be very careful with how this spin goes. This could go very wrong very quickly. They're going to go to the east, slightly south. And they're going to avoid FSU. Thank goodness for them. You need to stay alive as long as you can, and this was the best way to go. Way to go, A&M. They did the best. They made the best decision possible, and they can expand out of their county a little bit with their logo, I believe. Yep, they can go right about to here. So right there's about fine for them. A&M getting a chance to grow in the state of Florida. They now have one of the biggest territories out there. Spinning the wheel again. If you guys want, you guys can keep track of every single team that gets eliminated. That would be great. Thank y'all so much. Sacred Heart now is going to get active in the state of Connecticut. Now, this is tough because Connecticut is so tightly contested, you're more than likely going to have a matchup. They're going to try to go to the Northeast so you can see if they can avoid it. And for Sacred Heart, going to the Northeast for them would mean going up this way. They may have actually just stolen a territory. They're talking about going north this way. I don't know. From where they are located right here in the county, you're talking about something like, I can't see they're going like this. I think they're more going like this. And if that's the case, did they clip this corner on this angle? I think they did. So they're going to get this territory up here. They're going to barely get it. Barely. I'm going to stress that. Barely get the territory. It's not by much. But they've secured it nonetheless. They're going to get it, and they're not going to have to face Marist, because they were almost primed for matchup against Marist and the Red Foxes. That would have been very bad. Very bad for them. But they avoid it. So, that's what happens. So, Once again, let's try and keep track of all the names of the teams that we have that face off. But we're going back to Texas. TCU, the team that was in the college football championship just a year ago, is going to be going to the Northwest. And to go to the Northwest means they're going to avoid North Texas, which I think in this case is a good thing. They're going to take the territory right next to it, though. Very sure they're taking the territory next to it. So we're going to take this pen. We're going to make sure they got all that borderland. Perfect. See what I did there? Borderland? Video game? Yeah. So TCU avoids a battle. Very good for them. I don't know if they would have won. Remember, being an attacking team is not necessarily a good thing because home field advantage still stands for the team defending their land. Akron Zips, though, oh, I'm terrified for them. They're widely regarded as one of the worst organizations and programs in college football. They're going to go to the West. Slightly south, though. So let's see what happens here in the great state of Ohio. They're going to avoid a matchup. Everybody trying to play smart for the most part here. And I got to commend them. This is the best way to go. Avoid any fighting you can, because that means the more you can resist fighting, the longer you can last here. But Akron getting some good territory here and growing slowly but surely. It's not just my name. Let's keep moving. This spin will put us in Alabama. North Alabama Lions are up. I don't believe there's anybody in their territories around them, so they'll be able to expand. They're going to go to the southwest. Slightly, it's more west than south, though. And for them, that would mean, regardless, they got to take this territory here. So they get a little bit more coverage in their state, which is good to me. And so they have all this territory now that belongs to them. Congrats to North Alabama. You're becoming one of the larger territories now. This is great for them. Look at all that territory they have. They look like very prominent, big names on the map. We love to see it. And like I said, this is the beauty of having counties. It may be more boring, but it leads to more interesting things that could happen. Do teams avoid fighting each other? Can they delay it? I don't know about Michigan State, though. Michigan State's got a decent amount of teams around it. Can they avoid a fight? They've been a very disheveled program this year. They got to avoid a fight anywhere necessary. They're going to go to the north and slightly east. And that's going to help them avoid a fight. Very, very lucky. That could have gone very wrong very quickly. Should be very happy that they didn't end up landing on a fight. If they would have landed on Michigan or Eastern Michigan, God forbid, oh, this would have been over. That would have been a nightmare scenario. But here we are, going back to the wheel. Like I said, you're going to see a lot of expansion before you see fights. And the longer you can go, the better it is. Arizona State, the Sun Devils, they're next. They're in a tight state in Arizona. Not many places you can go, not a lot of open space, but they're going to go to the west and slightly south. That'll put them actually in a perfect scenario because you want to go and avoid all the fighting. So the best way to go is to go west. And they're absolutely following that ideal and that idea. And I like it. That's the way to roll. Avoid fighting for as long as you can. You can expand, but don't fight. So Arizona State getting themselves involved here in the territory fights. They're trying to expand a little bit at a time and avoid any kind of war. Remember, you don't want a war. You do not want a war. Auburn, though. Auburn's known to have wars. War Eagle, baby. Let's see. They're going to go to the west and north. So northwest. So northwest for them would mean it's definitely out to here. It doesn't clip here. So we're going to say they get this territory over here. This now belongs to Auburn University. Like I said, a lot of teams playing it smart, just expanding. No wars. If you got the space, you might as well expand. But try not to get in a war. The best thing you can do is avoid it. Southeastern Louisiana Lions. This is the team I talked about that was hard for me to name. This team could get themselves in some unnecessary trouble. As they're looking to go to the west and slightly south, that'll put them into this territory. They're lucky they have a buffer between them and LSU. If they would have lost to LSU, we would have had a very interesting scenario on our hands. Now, one thing I am going to do is I'm going to change the colors of LSU because I believe this is clashing. And I kind of want to avoid it. So I'd rather put some purple in there. So I'll flip the colors around. So the way you do that, I'm going to show you guys a cool trick with this. Here's how you fix it. Watch this. Well, here's how we actually should do it. Let's hit select. Move you out. Right? That's how we're going to do it. We're going to go like this. We're going to pick it. And we're going to put a bucket on it. Zoom in. 1, 2, 3. LSU looks like that now. Well, what I should have done is this. Let me actually do something different. We'll take this purple and we'll color this space. And now we'll take the original color we had, which is still in the logo actually, right here. And we'll fill it in the LSU logo. And now we can take it, select it, put it right here. Boom. LSU. Done. So we've solved it. LSU is now purple. We've changed the colors around to kind of make this look better. Quick and easy solutions, people. Easy solutions. But southeastern Louisiana, those Lions, they've expanded. Let's go back to the map. Let's go back to the wheel. Let's see if we're going to have any other war matchups. Again, this is going to go for a couple hours. So tune in when you want. Come back when you want. This is what we're looking like. But Jackson State in Mississippi is going to try to expand. And they're going to go to the southwest. And by going to the southwest, they will be... Ooh, this is actually close. Which territory will it be? I think it's more flat. They're going to go over here. So Jackson State, regardless, was going to avoid a fight. But they've made themselves a closer target to Alcorn State, who has actually been a decent team as of recent. So we'll see how long this lasts. But Jackson State making themselves sweat a little bit. Remember, 5 teams down, 254 to go. NAU, the team we've been worried about, who have the biggest territory in this country, now has to play a football game. They may have to. They're going to move to the south, slightly east. I said they may have to play a football game. Will they do so? I said south, slightly east. That would mean they're going to clip this area here. And the answer to that question will be no. They're going to be slightly missing out on a matchup. Instead, they're actually going to take this territory right above what I said, which I warned you all, it can get tough. It can get difficult. You get lucky with these buffers, but the next time that team lands on you, you could easily be out. You have to be very careful with where you expand. But NAU avoids it, and they grow their territory even larger. Still the largest territory on the map. We keep going now. I still can't believe NAU avoided that. I thought they were going to be so much closer. Well, the Northwestern State Demons will have something to say about it. They're going to be in Louisiana. Let's see how far they go. They're going to go to the east. And I don't know if that's necessarily the smartest decision, but they're going to move east. And let's see. Is it slightly south or slightly north? It is slightly south. That means they're going to take this territory right underneath. So the Northwestern Demons are going to be taking this. What I thought they were the Devils. It's actually the Demons. Completely forgot about that. So Northwestern State, expand a little bit, survives. We keep rolling. We keep rolling with those punches. Sacred Heart, we have our first team getting landed on twice. I guess they weren't happy expanding once. Let's see if they can get lucky and steal again. They're going to go to the west. Uh-oh. They're going to go to the west slightly north. This could probably do it for them. I don't think I could any way make an excuse to say that they avoided this. Here's the thing. Do I give it to them or do I not give it to them? Because if I'm zooming in and you're going this way, right? And you're going slightly like that, you're going to miss Fordham. I hate to say it. I think they avoided Fordham. And if that is the case, Sacred Heart might be the luckiest team ever. If they avoided that, they may be the luckiest team ever. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think they avoided it. I think they did. But that brings us now back to the wheel. I cannot believe they avoided that. Now Kansas wants to double up. Do they want to get closer to Kansas State or what's going on? They want to go south. And that looks like about as straight south as you can go. That means they're going to go down into this territory right below it. So Kansas growing a little bit more at a time out there. Who would have thought in these little states, that Midwest states that people don't really pay a lot of attention to, they got probably some of the most like geometrically accurate counties. As Ball State is now going to get involved in Indiana. Now, contrary to popular belief, they are not an FCS school. They are FBS, even though they don't play like one. But they're going to be moving to the southeast. And let's see if they themselves can... Yeah, I don't even know why I said anything. They got nothing around them. They are going to continue to expand. I would have loved to put something other than the color white for them, but unfortunately, there was no way to do it with the logo that they have, so they're going to have a white background, as do some of these teams. It's a shame, but it's all I could do. Some states have a lot of white and have a lot of red in it, so I can't really do the Ball State red. It's just not smart. Once again, we have been without a matchup for a while. Let's see if that changes at some point. Sacramento State is going to move from California. Now, this could get interesting. I believe they have some teams around them, and their plan is to go to the Northwest. And for Sacramento State, it does mean we have another matchup. The Hornets are going after the UC Davis Aggies. This is an FCS matchup if I've ever seen one. Keep in mind, our last matchup we had was Maryland and Navy, so this could get really interesting. So we're going to move out Maryland and Navy here. It is UC Davis up against Sacramento State. Everything remains the same. Let's see what the simulator says. So Sacramento on their first drive gets a 3-0 lead off a field goal by Zach Schreiner. Following drive, nothing. A punt. And then it goes back to UC Davis, and they're able to make a long drive down the field and settle for a field goal by Hunter Ridley, tied at 3. Punt. And then UC Davis, a touchdown. Make it 10-3. Miles Hastings to Jordan Fisher, 6 yards. Following play, punt. It looked to be a punt. Then it was followed by another punt. And then the ball goes back to Sacramento State, who gets a touchdown by Caden Bennett to Carlos Hill, 32 yards. Game's tied at 10. UC Davis gets a nice drive going. On the 21-yard line, they're able to get a 21-yard rushing touchdown by Lan Larison. 7-point lead again for UC Davis. Sacramento State with the ball. Caden Bennett got it down to their own 33, and he had an interception. Threw an interception, and the ball goes back to UC Davis. And now UC Davis gets a field goal out of it. They now have a 2-possession lead, 20-10. So now Sacramento State has to get back in this thing. They have to punt. Then it goes back to UC Davis, who punts. And then another punt. And then another punt. And then the ball goes back to Sacramento State, who then finally gets something going. Gets a big play down the field, starting off at the opponent's 39. And get a passing touchdown from Caden Bennett to Carlos Hill, 15 yards, touchdown, gains within 3. Following drive, UC Davis, unable to do anything, have to punt. Then you've got Sacramento State, had to punt. UC Davis had a punt. Sacramento State had a punt. And then UC Davis finishes it off. In the end, UC Davis, the Aggies, were able to defend their territory and beat Sacramento State, which is an upset. It is an upset. 115 simulations. And in this case, UC Davis wins a little bit more often than Sacramento State does, but it's not by much. It's a win for them. A big win. Caden Bennett for Sacramento State, 11-22, 142 TDs and interception. On the ground, Marcus Folker, 47 yards on 7 rushing attempts. And the receiving end, Carlos Hill, 4 catches, 57 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's the star of the game for Sacramento State. On UC Davis side, what a performance from Lan Larison. 17 carries, 94 yards, and a touchdown. Shout out also to Miles Hastings, 25 of 37, 192, and a touchdown pass. Just all around strong, efficient performance for UC Davis. They did just enough to hold off Sacramento State and leave with the victory. Which means Sacramento State is now gone. And as we go to the map, that means so is the logo. I hate to do it. I actually like the Hornets. But you know what? You got to win if you want to stay. It's not about who do you like the most. It's about who could actually win. Sorry, it's the truth. So UC Davis with the victory expands and takes the territory of Sacramento State. And now they have a nice chunk of their own in California. We finally got a war. I'm so happy we finally got a matchup. We had so many consecutive spins without one. Charlotte. Great. The 49ers. That is a contested state. I don't know how close they are to everybody else, but if they spin in the wrong direction, it could be bad news. They're going to go to the southwest. And for Charlotte, southwest means they're going over state lines. They're going into South Carolina. Probably the smartest thing you could do. Not many directions to run, so this is not a bad direction to go. Don't blame them. So Charlotte avoids possible doom. And we got Buffalo. I'll leave everybody in their area so they'll be able to expand, no problem. I believe they shouldn't have an issue expanding, so let's just see which direction they want to expand. They're going to go south, slightly west. Very slight west. Yeah, they got all the space in the world. They're just going to go ahead and go take territory more to the south. Which is, again, perfectly fine. They have all the resources to do so. So Buffalo expands. Now keep in mind, these Buffalo Bulls have been getting way better as a program over the years, so full shout out to them. They play their hearts out every week. They now have got a big chunk of New York to their own. So shout out to them. Let's now take a look at what's going on the rest of the way. Again, 6 teams gone out of 259. We got a long way to go. The Washington State Cougars. Wazoo! Wazoo's up. What will Wazoo do? They are going to go to the southwest. Does that give them a matchup? No, it does not. By going to the southwest, I believe it puts them right here. I don't believe it's west enough that they could actually go into this territory. It's going to be right here. So Washington State goes into this space here. We're going to give them this full territory to itself. This is theirs now. So Washington State gets a chance to actually expand their size a little bit and grow a little stronger here in the state of Washington. Wow. Didn't see that coming. And so we continue. Let's see if we get into the war. I'm kind of itching for more battles. Minnesota. This is hysterical. The only direction they can go to face somebody is to the west. I mean to the east. And they will not go east. They're going to go north. Slightly to the west. I think they're going to try to play with their food a little bit and leave St. Tommy alone. Because St. Thomas Tommies, I mean, they're not a great school. And from what it looks like they're going to take this territory right up here. Which I don't know how it's possible. But they are. So they're going to take this territory right up here. I don't know how they pulled that off, but they did. And so we're going to just give them this little bit of space right here. I'm going to have to shrink down the thickness here. Right here. Perfect. That's what they've got. They somehow squeeze into this little tiny space. And so with Minnesota, they stay alive. Like I said, sometimes the boring thing is some states are so big, but to be fair, you can't give everybody the entire state, you know? UNLV, they're next. And what will UNLV do? They could have a matchup against somebody if they go the right direction, but they're going to go to the east. They're going to go slightly northeast. And by going slightly northeast, they're going to be going into Arizona, actually, I believe. Not actually, it's not high enough. Well, actually, it might be. Going from the center of the logo, going up, it's kind of like this. Yeah, eclipse. I'm sorry, eclipse that corner. They're going to take this. It is high enough that it clips this. So we're going to give them that territory right there. And that's that. If you got a problem with it, I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. This is how the way it is. If you want to blame anybody, blame the spinner. The spinner does what it's supposed to do. You know? So I can't control the fact that it doesn't want to do it. Done. Completely evened out. So now UNLV has some room to actually expand their logo a little bit. So we're going to do that. We're going to give them a little bit more room to expand. Put them more north and shabam bam. They're good. So UNLV got some space now. They got one of the bigger territories now on the map too. UNLV stays alive. We keep spinning. Just keep spinning. Just keep spinning. Just keep spinning. 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 I might be going crazy. Austin P, the Governors. They're up in Tennessee now. They're going to the northwest? Northwest. So for them, that would mean they're going to take up this territory. They're now going interstate as well. They're going to be deciding, you know what, let's try out Kentucky, see how we feel. And that's what they did. So they're going to Kentucky. Nothing else needs to be said. We continue to spin and spin and spin and spin and spin. The Brown Bears of Rhode Island. This could get interesting. They are in a tight situation. Let's see if they can get out of it. They're going to want to go to the east, the northeast. Can they do it, though, is the question. They want to go to the northeast this way, but I don't think that's going to do it for them. They're going to have to face Stonehill. They're going up against the Stonehill Skyhawks. I'm sorry, I don't think that works. So Stonehill's going to have to play some defense here to beat out Brown. So they're going to play Brown. Let's see if Brown can get the win. Stonehill gets the lead early, 7-0. And it's a great pass by Asher Carra to Chris Domerkin for 30 yards. Continue on. It looks to be punt. Then you go back to Stonehill, who gets another touchdown. Quarterback throws it to Cameron Alves, who gets a 1-yard touchdown, 14-0. Field goal's good, 14-3. Punt by Stonehill. Brown with the ball, another field goal, 14-6. Punt again by Stonehill. Punt by Brown. Stonehill gets it again. They're going to get another touchdown. This time a completion, Noah Canty for 3 yards. 21-6 Stonehill. Brown punts. Stonehill punts. Brown gets a touchdown. Jake Wilcox to West Rocket for 9 yards. 21-13 Stonehill. The following drive, Stonehill punts. The first play of the drive for Brown, intercepted by Stonehill. Stonehill able to take advantage of that and score a touchdown. Micah Brown 1 yard out. Stonehill leads now by 2 possessions, 20-13. How does Brown respond? They punt. And then Stonehill punts. And then Brown throws another interception. Wilcox again. Stonehill unable to capitalize. They punt. Brown punts. Stonehill punts. Brown punt. Stonehill capitalizes again. Another touchdown pass. This time 2 on a long drive from their own 37. Asher Karahad goes to Chris Domerkins again for 1 yard. Another touchdown. Stonehill now leads 35-13. This game's over at this point. Another interception by Brown. That pretty much seals the deal. Final score, Stonehill 35, Brown 13. Unfortunately, Brown was unable to stop them. Stonehill gets the big victory. It's a blowout. And so in the end, Brown, Wilcox, 20-37, 240, 1-3. Not good. Decent performance on the ground from Stockton, Owen, 11-57. And on Stonehill's side, Asher had himself a strong game, 23-37, 241, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Chris Domerkin was the star of the game, 8 catches, 122, and 2 touchdowns. Had himself a phenomenal day. Overall, Stonehill earned this victory. No arguments here. So in the end, Brown makes the crucial mistake of trying to get cheeky too quickly. And they pay the price. Big time. So now Brown has been eliminated. Say goodbye to Brown University, people. They are officially gone. The Stonehill Skyhawks now have control. 252. That's what we got left to go. The expansion is growing. We're loving it. And now the Harvard Crimson in Massachusetts. We're going to stay in the Northeast for this one, in the New England area. As they're going to want to go to the Northwest. Can Harvard go Northwest? No, they can't. They can't go Northwest. And I'm going to tell you why. Holy Cross has put up a wall against them. And if you're doing what we've been doing, which is going by the logo right here, you are talking about going this way. And if you're going across state borders, you would need something more like that to kind of get in. And I don't know if they have it. No, they do. I take it back. Nope, they do. They do. They're going to make it into New Hampshire. I don't know how they avoided it, but they did. I looked at it more closely on the arrow at the bottom. They got New Hampshire. Slightly. Slightly, but they got it. Don't come at me in the chat. It's what happened. They got it. They did get it. I was wrong. Cornell is up next in New York. Now, they're in a little bit of a predicament. They're in a tight spot as well. They got to make sure they go in the right direction, but I don't know if the Northeast is the right direction. It is. They avoided it. Okay. So Cornell gets to expand, but they put themselves in a more troublesome situation. It is very easy to lose once this happens. Very easy. Cornell, able to survive, but maybe not for too long. And now let us move back to the wheel again. As I'm now opening my third bottle of water, because I'm losing my voice. What? Okay. ECU is going to get active. East Carolina Pirates. Not exactly a team you want to get active. One of the worst FBS teams this year. Not good. They're going to the north, slightly west. And that means by going slightly west from here, they're going to be going right into this territory. So ECU gets lucky. They are lucky they have a lot of cushion and territory around them that they can expand to and not be touched. They got very lucky here. ECU growing their space a little bit at a time. Now, they're not a good team. This is the thing I keep stressing. If you're not a strong team, you need to do your best to stay within your small territories. But Ball State doesn't want to listen. They're going to keep moving. This is the second time they've been landed on. They're going to try to expand again. Their plan is to move to the south, slightly west. And the move to the south and slightly west would mean that they are going to be going towards... Does it clip here? Yeah, it does. It's going to clip this spot right next to Butler. They're making themselves way too close to Butler here. They got to be careful. You don't want to try and poke a bear and surround him, because it's very quickly to get yourself upset and beaten. You don't want that. But Ball State slowly growing their territory a little bit at a time. Not the worst thing in the world, but you don't want to grow too big too quick. Makes yourself more of a target. South Dakota Coyotes. I just said South Dakota. South Dakota Coyotes. Let's see what they do. Their plan is to go to the west and slightly north. So if that's their plan, that's what they're going to do. So to the west and slightly north will put them right there. Now again, there's plenty of room between them and the South Dakota State Jackrabbits, who are a powerhouse team every year in college football. There's enough space there. But you can't help but wonder what could happen. You know? Anything could happen at any point. Somebody could attack you from the south that you don't see coming from another state. You just got to be careful with the way you expand. The McNeese State Cowboys of Louisiana. Yeah. Louisiana. Going to the northeast. That could spell disaster. Let us see. Nope, plenty of cushion. It would be more problem if they went this way. They're going east. They're playing it smart. They're going to the northeast. They're going to go that way. Right? Well, not really. I mean, we kind of argue they could clip here. Which, if that's the case, sure, why not? We'll give them the northern area. Excuse me. McNeese State takes the territory right there. So they are going to claim this area right above them. Sorry about that. My throat. McNeese State is going to go this way and move more to the north. And they are going to grow. Which, is good news for them. I'm very happy that a small school like that is starting to get some noise. Starting to make some noise. Because, again, look, this map is a little bit different than what we saw when we first started. Which I can pull that image up at any point. I'm not going to. We'll pull it up at the end when we're ending the stream. But we still have some time before then. Eastern Washington is next. The Eastern Washington Eagles. Spin the arrow. Where do you go? Eastern Washington. Their plan is to go to the northeast. And the northeast, if it's north enough, they could avoid Idaho. Is it enough? I think it starts from right here. They're going to go this way, and it's like, no. It clips it. It clips Idaho. That's going to suck. Oh, they're going against Idaho. They definitely were not intending to attack, but you know what? We can't avoid it. You can't avoid it forever. Eastern Washington is taking on Idaho. If they beat Idaho, it's perfectly fine. We'll act like it was a nice accident. But you know what? Things happen. You never know what could happen. So let's start here and see what's going on. Idaho takes the lead early, 7-0 on their first drive, thanks to a completion of Nick Romano for 3 yards. You keep going. The following drive is a touchdown by Eastern Washington to make it a 7-7 game. 6-yard run by Jared Taylor. Following play, a 15-yard rushing touchdown for Idaho. Makes it 14-7. Following drive, punt. Eastern Washington follows it up with a punt. Then an interception by Idaho. Eastern Washington gets the ball back. Couldn't do anything with it. Had to punt. And then you've got Idaho back again, and they go down the field. Another touchdown. 30-yard run by Anthony Woods. 21-7. Then you have the ball back in the hands of Eastern Washington, who goes down the field and kicks a field goal. They cut the lead down to 11, make it 21-10. Following play, Idaho responds and gets a field goal to expand the lead again back to 24-10, 14-point lead. The next drive, Eastern Washington throws an interception. Kikoa Vesperis throws the interception. And with that, Idaho takes advantage and scores another touchdown, makes it 31-10. At this point, this game could be over. Quick punt for Eastern Washington. For Idaho, it's another field goal, 34-10. This game is over at this point. Eastern Washington going long down the field from their own 20, but can only end in a field goal. 34-13. Next play from Idaho, punt. Play by Eastern Washington, a touchdown, 34-20. Vesperis completes it to Jacoby Keeney James for 10 yards. 14-point game. Punt for Idaho. Eastern Washington, punt. Idaho finishes with the ball. And they win it. In the end, Idaho holds off Eastern Washington and wins 34-20. Home field advantage plays a big factor in this. Larger factor than people expect. But Idaho was a very good team this year in FCS. Could not be understated. Vesperis, not a great game. 23-32, 281 and 1. Tuna Altahir, 14 of 76, no touchdowns. Receiving wise, Efton Chisholm, the third, 173 yards and 11 catches, no touchdowns. On Idaho's side, Gavani McCoy, not a great game from him either. 18 of 25, 249, a TD interception. Woods, 19, 115, 3 touchdowns. He's the star of the whole game. And Hayden also deserves some appreciation. 9 catches, 126, no touchdowns. Idaho wins, defends their territory, and eliminates Eastern Washington. So Idaho didn't even want to expand, really. They just didn't. They end up expanding anyway. And they're going to take EWU's territory, and they have now expanded into Washington. Not exactly what you hope for. Because going to Washington, you now have 2 FBS teams remaining who could easily eliminate you. So not great situation for them. We can now remove Eastern Washington from the spinner. And we're now at 251. Louisiana Lions want to move again. Let's see what they do. Southeastern Louisiana is in a little bit of a predicament. Let's see what direction they want to go. They want to go to the northeast. Okay, that's actually a good idea. They're getting away from the drama. I like it. You just better hope LSU don't land on you. Don't mind where you expand. Just don't go to LSU. You go to LSU, you will be eliminated almost guaranteed. I mean that so seriously. Nobody should want to go to LSU. Just don't do it. So Louisiana Lions of Southeastern Louisiana Lions survive. Again, by going in the right direction. And now you've got Norfolk, the Nicholls State Colonels. I thought it would be Norfolk State. I almost thought Norfolk was going to have it. But Nicholls State, we're staying in Louisiana for this. They're going to go north and slightly east. So for them, they're actually all the way at the bottom of Louisiana, if you guys can't see here. So north and slightly east would mean that they basically take this. So this is now their territory right here. They own this. Louisiana getting a lot of action early here, honestly. A lot of expansion here in this state. Seeing the Demons get some action. Cowboys, LSU, the Lions, and the Colonels. Let's see. Could Louisiana be the first state to actually finish by the end of the stream? Let's see. We don't know. We could have one team remaining by the end of it. But we spin the wheel again. And St. Thomas finally getting involved. Just make sure you don't go in the right direction. And they do go in the right direction. Make sure you don't go in the wrong direction is what I meant. And that's what they did. They didn't go in the wrong direction. They went the right one. They're going to the southeast. And by doing so, they stay alive and avoid Minnesota. So good for them. They're going to go right there. We're going to eliminate this little border right here and just make sure they've got their room. The St. Thomas Tommies have expanded. Good for them. They're avoiding their bigger brother. A much more intimidating brother to the west. And this spin gives us Michigan. Now, if Michigan spins the right direction, this could get interesting. And I think they did. They're looking to go to the east, but slightly south. Is it enough? Yup. They got to face Eastern Michigan. This is the right to the county. So Eastern Michigan's got to play defense. Now remember, this simulator has been known to create upsets. So don't be mad if you see your team get eliminated. It's not on purpose. The simulator applies everything. It makes it unpredictable. But right out the gate, nothing good for Eastern. Eastern punts on the first drive, and then Michigan scores, makes it 7-0. Then the following drive, Eastern Michigan throws an interception. Then another touchdown for Michigan. Eastern punts. Michigan punts. Eastern. Long drive from their own 1-yard line. But it comes up short. They have to punt. Michigan. Long drive down the field from their own 20. And they score a touchdown. Blake Corum, make it 21-0. As you guys can probably assume, this game's out of hand already. Eastern Michigan throws another interception. And then another touchdown for Blake Corum. 28-0 Michigan. Another interception by Udangwu, who was the quarterback for Eastern Michigan. That means Michigan is going to score another touchdown, right? Yup. J.J. McCarthy to A.J. Barner for 6 yards. 35-0. Another interception by Udangwu. Now you go back to Michigan again. McCarthy takes it in himself from 6 yards out for a touchdown. 42-0. And a really long drive by Eastern Michigan to make sure it's not a complete game shutout. They get a field goal. 42-3. Next drive by Michigan, nothing happens. Next drive for Eastern, they get another field goal, 42-6. Michigan punts, Eastern punts. Michigan also punts, Eastern punts. Michigan then goes down the field, a touchdown to Donovan Edwards for some 7 yards out, 49-6 Michigan. And from there, the game's pretty much over. It's finished. Michigan blows them out of the water, 49-6. No chance Eastern was going to win this game. Very slim chance you could see, but you saw the percentages. McCarthy, 16 of 21, 205, 2 touchdowns. I like how it's still low yardage for him to win this game. Corum, clearly the MVP, 22 attempts, 117, and 4 touchdowns. For Eastern, Adangwu was terrible. Nothing else to say. 16 of 33, 106, no touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Samson Evans and Jalen Jackson were the only real stars of this team in this game. 16 and 17 attempts respectively, 69 and 66 yards, no touchdowns for either. And that's that. So Michigan wins 49-6. Eastern is finished. Goodbye, Eastern Michigan. You survived long enough, but you got to understand, Michigan don't play games. They will take what you love, and they will not apologize for it. So be grateful you were here. Now, you weren't a D2 school. Michigan takes the territory, just like that. So now Michigan has its own county to itself now. No more Eastern. They're good to go. Let's go back into the spinner and get rid of Eastern. Let's go find Eastern and eliminate their name. There we go. Eastern Michigan Eagles. Goodbye. We are now at 250 teams remaining. We've eliminated 9 already. Let's see how much closer we can get. Wyoming is next. Wyoming has nobody around it. This is expansion only. And they're going to be going to the southwest. And I was a liar. Colorado State was right below them. And I completely forgot that. And there's no way I could argue that they didn't avoid them. That they avoided them. They didn't avoid them. They're going to face Colorado State. So here we go. This is going to get interesting. We have our first FBS matchup. So Colorado State, right? And they're going to take on Wyoming. Just a perfect situation. So let's see what happens. First drive looks to be, the first few drives didn't go too well, and then Wyoming gets a touchdown on their second drive of the game. Good run by Jamari Farrell, 33-yard touchdown. Wyoming leads 7-0 to start. Punt by Colorado State, and then a field goal by Wyoming makes it 10-0. Colorado State punts. Wyoming punts. And then Colorado State gets field goal. Game's at 10-3. Wyoming goes down the field. They try to field goal. Miss the field goal. Wyoming still leads 10-3. Colorado State makes another field goal. 10-6. Punt by Wyoming. Colorado State punts. Wyoming punts. Colorado State punts. Wyoming attempts the field goal. No good. Colorado State, on their following drive, complete a 60-yard touchdown pass from Braden Fowler Nicolosi to Justice Ross Simmons. And Colorado State takes a 13-10 lead. They're up by 3. Tied at 13. Thanks to a field goal by John Hoyland, Wyoming ties it up. And then from there, they're still tied at 13. The next attempt by Colorado State is no good. They are unable to make a field goal from the opponent's 15. And now Wyoming tries. They punt. Colorado State tries again, and they make the field goal again. They are able to redeem themselves. They're up by 3 again. Wyoming on the following drive, a massive 28-yard touchdown by Andrew Peasley to Jalen Sargent. 28 yards out, Wyoming gets the lead back. It's 20-16. So now Colorado State has all the pressure on them. They got to find a way to score and win this thing. And they do that. They go on a long drive from their own 20-yard line. It takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. A 13-play drive down the field from their own 20. And it ends with a touchdown pass by Braden Fowler Nicolosi to Dylan Goffney for a touchdown. 6 yards out. Colorado State takes the lead again, 23-20. And on the final drive of the game, Wyoming was unable to complete a comeback and send it to overtime. So Colorado State wins it 23-20 over the Cowboys. There's a big simulation. A lot of these are run. It's very competitive. But Colorado State wins this one. Good contested back and forth matchup. Peasley, decent game. Nothing to write home about, but a decent game nonetheless. Receiving-wise, Wyoming, 94 yards for Wyatt Weiland. Great game for him. Beasley did have also 80 yards on the ground rushing, the quarterback, so it's kind of impressive. I can't lie. And then we go to Colorado State. Fowler Nicolosi, 25 of 36, 392, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. What a performance. A great performance. Torrey Horton, Justice, Ross Simmons deserve all the credit in the world. 11 catches, 158, and 6 catches, 147. What a game for them. They finish the comeback, they get the win, and defend their territory. So now Wyoming has been eliminated. And Colorado State now has territory in the great state of Wyoming. That is it. Wow. I didn't see it coming. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I didn't expect that to happen. But Wyoming is out nonetheless. And we're down to 249 teams. 10 teams are now gone. Just like that. Okay, I guess USC is going to get to action. Okay. USC's up next. I don't think I was prepared for this, but we're going to go with it anyway. It's USC time. And they're going to spin the wheel. Which direction are they going to go? They're going to go to the north and slightly east. Slightly. I mean, really slight. But nevertheless, they're going up against UCLA. We have our first big juggernaut matchup. UCLA and USC. Like I said, home field plays a lot in this. I've said that many times, that home field has a lot to do with how the way these games go. But let's see if it's enough to help UCLA beat USC. If they do that, then this is going to be big. This game could eliminate a former Heisman winner right on the spot. Actually, forget it, because this takes into account the guys who are in the transfer portal or are declaring or are not playing in bowl games. This is actually a big deal. So, UCLA punts on the first. USC then punts. Then it's a touchdown for UCLA by Colin Schlee, 7 yards out. Good run. 7-0. Then USC goes down the field and they make a field goal. 7-3. UCLA makes field goal. 10-3. Then USC goes down the field and the pass by Miller Moss is completed to Dorian Singer from 5 yards out for a touchdown. Game's tied. UCLA punts. USC punts. UCLA punts. USC goes down the field and Miller Moss scores a touchdown. 32 yards to Kyron Ware Hudson. They're up 17-10 now. USC has the lead. And so now, at this point, USC continues on their tear. A punt by UCLA puts USC back in this. They get a touchdown. Miller Moss to Tosh Washington, 1 yard out, 24-10. Interception by Ethan Garbers. Then USC has the ball back. Another field goal, 27-10. Punt by UCLA. Then a 5-yard rushing touchdown by Marshawn Lloyd off the 60-yard completion from Miller Moss to Deuce Robinson. USC is now at 34-10. This game's out of hand. At that point, UCLA's punting. USC goes down the field on a long, long drive, and Taj Washington gets another touchdown, 5 yards out from Miller Moss, 41-10. UCLA punts. And then USC gets the ball again, another touchdown. Moss to Branch for 6 yards out, 48-10. Garbers throws another interception on the following drive. USC punts. UCLA punts. USC goes down the field and they make a field goal. 51-10. At this point, it's over. UCLA's finished. We're not even going to go the rest of the way. Another touchdown happens. Game over. USC completely embarrasses UCLA. 58-10. After a very contested first half. 58-10 to end it. USC just completely blew them out of the water. They had nothing. Miller Moss, look at these stats. 30 for 44, 439, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. Marshawn Lloyd, 25 carries, 128, 1 touchdown. Receiving, Brendan Rice, 6, 107. Kyron Ware Hudson, 5, 106, and a touchdown. Also shout out Taj Washington, 8, 53, 2 touchdowns. And 2 touchdowns for Zechariah Branch with only 4 catches and 15 yards. He had 2 TDs. So just really, really strong performance. This is what I mean. So sometimes the model isn't perfect. It's going to go off what's currently going on. So USC, with the guys that are entering the portal and drafted going to the draft, like they're all out. So this is massive. And they still won without them. But UCLA's size, Garber's just bad game. And a decent performance from Kyle Ford, 253. And good amount of carries for Colin Schley, 648 and a touchdown. And that's really all I could say. Yeah, UCLA really got embarrassed. I don't know what to say to that. So, I expected it to be tighter, more competitive, and it wasn't the case. UCLA goes out in embarrassing fashion. And so the Trojans now own their entire county, and they're in full control now of their destiny in California. So there they are, right there. Massive. Massive. So USC's okay. Let's check out UCLA, see what happened to them. Let's go find them. We're going to have to eliminate them from the map. UCLA, goodbye. 248 left. 248. Utah Tech, the Trailblazers. Now, the only place they can't go is north. They go north, it's going to be a problem. They're going to go to the southeast. And for them, that's actually going to put them, I think, to be in Arizona. Is it, though? Actually, no. It's like from right here. Nope, it's here. Nope, that's it. They're going to stay in Utah. Wow, they avoided it. Okay. So Utah Tech actually avoids it and stays alive. I don't know how they did it, but they pulled it off. So they were able to pull that off. I don't know how, but they did. And they are growing. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of growth in these expansions. A lot of growth. But here's the next spin. We've done 54 of these already in the last 2 hours. But Southeast Missouri State Redhawks, that's who's next. Missouri State. Wow, I forgot it was Southeast Missouri State. I thought it was just Southeast Missouri. They're going to be going to the east. They want to go directly east. Let's see how that goes for them and if that's possible. Yep. They avoid the Southern Illinois Salukis. And they're going to expand directly east. So they get some territory here. But now they become more vulnerable. Because if it lands on Southern Illinois, they're a target. And in this case, it's going to be the NAU Lumberjacks. They're going to move again. Now, this is where it gets tight and competitive. They can go anywhere. They're in full control. They want to go to the southwest. It looks to be more west than south, but let's see. And that's going to give them this space here. They are making it way too hard on themselves here. They're expanding way too soon. They're getting way too ambitious. They got to be careful. Real careful. The last thing you need is to be eliminated because you got greedy and too ambitious. And as the county lines disappear, you're seeing NAU just start completely doing exactly what we didn't want them to do. They are getting large very quickly, and that means a lot of land could disappear very quickly. But look at that. They still have the largest territory on the map. A lot of growth to be done. But all it takes is one person, one team to face them and obliterate them, and they'll lose everything. That's why it's so careful about timing things, as the Sooners are going to be able to get some action here. And they're going to be going to the southeast. And southeast of the Sooners would place them right here in their neighboring county. OU. Boomer Sooner, baby. So, Boomer Sooner. Sooner Nation. It's going to be expanding out a little bit. There you go. So, the Sooners getting a little bit of space there of their own. Not much, but it is still space regardless. And they haven't had to face anybody. I'm telling you, the more teams we get to face each other, the easier it's going to be. But there is, yes, a lot of territory and a lot of gray to make up. But Utah, the Utes, have a chance to do some expanding of their own. And they're going to go to the northeast. And to the northeast for them would be right here. They're going to take the space right next to Weber State, right underneath them. It's not like they lose to Weber State, but it's still something to note. I mean, it's still a team that's not bad. Weber State is not a bad school. I want that to be known. They may be FBS, but they can still do some damage. But they avoided BYU, which is the bigger story. They would have faced BYU. I don't know if they would have been safe. Because remember, home field advantage gives a little extra strength to the team that's defending. You got to be careful of that. Speaking of difficult, Harvard got lucky last time by getting territory in New Hampshire. But can they get lucky again? They're going into the Northwest again. But does this mean they still avoided tragedy? I think they actually did it. I think they avoided tragedy. And I think they're taking this land right here. They're taking this county over here somehow. I can't explain it to you, but the Harvard Crimson are playing a very dangerous and technical game here. They decided we're not going to worry about the state of Massachusetts. We're going to worry about the state of New Hampshire, which is up for grabs so we can grow out. And that is actually working out for them. Look at all this territory that's here that they could have attacked and got stuck by. And they keep going in the same direction. They're getting insanely lucky. Insanely lucky. Now, what would suck is if I spin this wheel and it lands on them again, which, slim to none chance. And it's Florida International. We're going back to the state of Florida. And will the Panthers be able to do any kind of fighting? Well, they're going to the north, and they're going to be slightly east. And in that case, there's a space right above them between them and FAU, which means they're going to be able to grow up and move up. So they will be able to take territory above them, not have to fight anybody. Once again, boo. We want fights. We want to eliminate teams. We want to get this. We want to get as many teams out as we can before this stream is over. Before I end stream, we want to get as many out as we can. And for FIU, this is good. But for Miami, all they need is just to go north, and they can immediately crush all the hopes and dreams of FIU at any moment. Remember what I said, home field advantage. You'd rather be attacked than do the attacking. Nevada, the Wolfpack, they're up next. And in this case, they're going to move out to the west, slight north. And in this case, going that way, they're just going to go right into California. Unbothered, they're going to go right into California. I don't blame them. It's a great idea. You got all that northern space up there. Why not try and take it? I would have done the same thing. And so now they're getting themselves a nice amount of space up there to expand. The Nevada Wolfpack. Good on them, man. They got all that space to work with. Boise State is next. Now remember what I said. The amount of space you have, the more isolated you are, the better off you are as a team. But southeast it'll be for the Boise State Broncos. And for them, that would mean they're taking just this space here. Real simple. They're going to take that space there, and they're going to grow out all this territory. All belongs to them. So Boise State can now grow this way, outwards, and have more territory. So good for them. The top team in Idaho continues to expand and make some little more space for them and more noise. We spin the wheel again. Again, 11 teams are gone at this point. Let's see how many more we can get gone within the next, I would say, half hour to 45 minutes. Well, the Missouri State Redhawks want to keep going, southeast Missouri. Let's see how far they want to go. They want to go north this time. And I think north will work just fine. Yep. Going directly north avoids the Salukis again. I don't know how these teams get so lucky, but they don't have to worry about the Southern Illinois Salukis once again. Tempting fate they are. They are tempting fate. We spin the wheel. I cannot believe so many of these teams avoid some bad clashes. The Marist Red Foxes, though, they're in a tight predicament. They can only move north to survive, and they are going to go south. We might have another fight, folks, south and slightly west. I think that's going to put them in line to go up against Sacred Heart. And slightly west would mean... Yep. That's Sacred Heart. So if they win this thing, they're going to be taking on the Pioneers, and they will take over some land in Connecticut. That is a big deal. So Sacred Heart will have to defend against Marist. If Marist loses, though, Sacred Heart's going to have way more territory inside of New York. Not a good situation to be in, honestly. So Sacred Heart and Marist. That is the squads. And so we begin. A lot of nothing in the beginning, a lot of punting, and then a field goal attempt by Sam Renzi is no good. Keep moving, and then Marist responds with a touchdown. Brock Bagosi to Mohamed Diawara, 14 yards for a touchdown. They lead 7-0. Then you go down here and you get another 3 and out, this time by Sacred Heart. A 3 and out by Marist. And then Sacred Heart has to punt again. Marist goes down the field, gets a field goal. Kick from Chase Gardy from the 34 is good. They're up 10-0. Sacred Heart, punt. Marist, punt. Sacred Heart going down the field. They set up for field goal. Sam Renzi makes it. It's 10-3. So it's a 7-point game. Marist goes 3 and out. Sacred Heart, 3 and out. Marist, 3 and out. Sacred Heart, 3 and out. Marist, 3 and out. Sacred Heart, 3 and out. This just keeps happening. Marist goes down the field and they get a touchdown. Brock Bagosi finally breaks the little drought that they had and gets a touchdown to Matt Stanch for 2 yards for a touchdown. Marist now leads 17-3. At this rate, the way they're both playing, this game looks to be over. Sacred Heart tries to extend a drive, but they unfortunately fall short and have to punt. They do. And then Marist goes down the field again from the opponent's 27. It was a good return off the punt that put him in opposing position on the opponent 27, getting to field goal range, and the kick from Chase Gardy's good, 20-3 lead, and that'll do it right there. The Marist Red Foxes beat the Sacred Heart Pioneers, 20-3. For Marist, this is a big upset win. Usually Sacred Heart wins these matches, but Marist wins it this time as the attacker too, not even as a defending unit. They didn't have home field advantage. Sacred Heart did, and they still won. So kudos to Marist on a good game. Bagosi, 19 of 33, 158, 2 touchdowns. Ammon Woods, the running back, 15 of 75, no touchdowns. Receiving, Stanch, 6 catches, 50 yards, 1 touchdown. And for Sacred Heart, Rob McCoy, 15 of 23, 126, not too good. On the ground, Jalen Madison, leading rusher, 9 carries, 47, no touchdowns. Receiving, LJ Haskett, 3 catches, 40 yards, no touchdowns. That is what it looked like offensively for both teams in this game. But Marist with the victory nonetheless. And so that means all of this progress that Sacred Heart made by trying to grow was all for nothing. And it goes back to what I told you guys. It doesn't matter how good your team is. In the end, it comes down to one thing. You cannot grow too fast. And that's what Sacred Heart did. And by doing so, they have put themselves in a bad, bad predicament. And so they've been eliminated because Marist caught on, knew they were going to be a threat, and they took them out swiftly. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. And they're going to have all the territory now that Sacred Heart had gained. So that puts Marist as one of the top teams now in the country in terms of expansion. They have grabbed a lot of territory between New York and Connecticut. Thanks, in part, to all the hard work Sacred Heart did. So we can now eliminate Sacred Heart. The Pioneers are now gone. That leaves us 247 teams. It's up to you guys. You guys want to go another 30 minutes or 45 minutes? It's up to you. The Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils. They're up. Feel free if you guys want to tell me to hop off of here at any point. We're good to go. Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils are going to the northeast, actually. And for them, that would mean that they're going to take, to me, this territory right here. I'm pretty sure it's what they're going to take, so we're going to just give them that. That would mean this territory right here. Boom. Done. They get that little piece of land right there in Mississippi, and they're good. And so we go from there. Oregon State. That's a big school. Has been doing real good. Let's see what happens. They're going to go south. They're going south slightly to the east. Very, very slight. And we already have the biggest matchup of the video. Outside of the UCLA-USC video, this is big because neither one of those teams was really playing like a true top 10 team. Both of these teams right here, you could argue, were top 10 teams this year. You could argue the Beavers were in there. So now Oregon State has to take on the Ducks. Now, it'd be great if it wasn't the fact that Oregon was home. Because Oregon is home, it's going to make this very weird. It's because Oregon is home, now you have an interesting predicament. Because now Oregon State could easily lose this thing. But let's see what happens. So Oregon State starts with the ball. They end up being stopped. So they punt. Oregon punts. Beavers punt. The Ducks go down the field and make a field goal, 3-0 lead. The Beavers go down the field and have to punt. The Ducks go down the field and they have to punt. Then you have the Beavers. They don't move much, 3 and out. And then you have the Ducks in good field position. And they make a big play from Bo Nix to Troy Franklin, 53-yard play, which leads to a Bo Nix touchdown to Marquise Irving, 7 yards out. Oregon's up 10-0. Then the Beavers get some good progress going, but are unable to get close to field goal range, so they have to punt. The Ducks got a field goal attempt off, was no good. Oregon leads 10-0. Now you have, again, the Beavers. Unable to get close, punt. Ducks, punt. Beavers go down the field, and they make a field goal at the opponent 25 to make it a 7-point game. The Ducks go down the field, attempt a field goal, no good from Camden Lewis. The Beavers have life. They have to punt. Then you have the Ducks again with the ball. They punt. Then you go to the Beavers again. They're making a big run down the field, a lot of big plays, long drive from their own 4, and ends with an Isaiah Newell 2-yard touchdown run. Game's tied at 10. The Ducks have one last chance to end this game. A big long drive down the field for Bo Nix, and they end up settling for field goal, take a 3-point lead. It's 13-10. The next drive by the Beavers is no good. It stalls at a 3 and out. The Ducks get the ball again, and Nix completes it down the field, getting so surgical. With a big pass at one point to Gary Bryant Jr. for 38 yards. Ends with a touchdown to Trayshawn Holden from 11 yards out. 20-10 Oregon. 2-possession lead. And now the Beavers go down the field, just down to about their own 33, though. Not much gains, and they have to punt. And the Ducks get another touchdown with Marquise Irving on a run from 2 yards out. 27-10. Oregon finishes this one off. They win it 27-10. The Beavers go out sad, unfortunately. And the amount of simulations they've run here, Oregon's won this thing 87% of the time. But at least this wasn't a massive blowout. DJ Ugalele, 16-31, 148, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Good game from Deshaun Fenwick, 18 for 85. And Silas Bolden, leading receiver, 6 catches, 66 yards. Oregon's passing. Bo Nix, 27 of 37, 379, 2 TDs, no interceptions. Marquise Irving, one of the big stars of the game, 21 carries, 89 yards, and a touchdown. He also had a receiving touchdown as well, and same goes for Trayshawn Holden. Troy Franklin was the leading receiver, 6 catches, 115. Oregon just in full control of this game. There was no doubt in my mind that Oregon was going to win this thing, and they did just that. Oregon State made it close for a bit, but they just could not seal the deal. So Oregon State goes out. Say goodbye to the Beavers, people. It's like I said, sometimes you really don't want to fight early, and they ended up getting a bad draw. They had to attack, and they went with Oregon rather than expanding. They wanted to take them out early, and it ended up working against them. So the Ducks win, and Oregon State's out. Not exactly the result I know some of the people wanted to see, but the Beavers are gone regardless. 246 teams left to go. The Dayton Flyers. That's an interesting one. Let's see what they do. They're in a little bit of a... I think they got a couple teams around them, too. They're going to go to the southwest. So we're going to take a trip to Ohio. See what Dayton's doing. Going to the southwest. Oh, no. They got to play Miami of Ohio. You can't argue otherwise. That is absolutely going to Miami of Ohio. Oh, this is going to be good. So now Miami has to face off as defending their land against Dayton. And Dayton is not a great team. They're an FCS team. So we'll see what happens. Punt, 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 punt. Punt again. And then a missed field goal by Sam Webster. No good. Then you've got a touchdown finally from Miami of Ohio after a very rough start to the game. Henry Hessen completed it to Kevin Davis, 17 yards for a touchdown. Then you've got Dayton punt again. Punt by Miami, Ohio. Then it's the Flyers punting again. Then it's the Redhawks completing another touchdown. Henry Hessen to Cade McDonald, 23 yards. 14-0 Miami of Ohio. The way this game's going, it looks like Miami's got this in the bag. Dayton, long drive down to their own 47, and they had to punt. The Flyers punt on a 3-and-out. Miami of Ohio, the Redhawks, misses the field goal. They still lead 14-0. But Dayton, actually no, Dayton was the one that missed the field goal. My fault. David Marber misses the field goal. It's no good, so Miami gets the ball now. They go down the field, and they get a big 30-yard touchdown run by Jordan Brunson. They lead 21-0 now. This game is all but over. At this point, a bad drive. Dayton has to punt. Miami gets it. They punt. Dayton has one last chance. Go down the field, get a field goal. They make it. Sam Webster's kick is good. Miami, Ohio now only leads by 18. Punt by Redhawks. Punt by the Flyers. And the Redhawks get it again. Rashad Amos, 3-yard touchdown. Thanks to a opening drive big play from Hessen to Larvadane for 24 yards. It ended with an Amos touchdown for 3 yards on the ground. Miami, Ohio pretty much seals the deal. 20-3 lead at the end of the game. And the Flyers are done. The Flyers lose to the Redhawks 28-3. Just absolute embarrassing performance by the Flyers. Right, for Dayton, Van Vliet was 8 for 16, 61. Not a lot of passing, not a lot of great performance on the ground. Shouldn't even mention any of the stats. Miami of Ohio, though, decent game. Hessen, 16 of 20, 156, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Rashad Amos, 23 rushes, 83 yards, 1 touchdown, top performer of the day. Cade McDonald had 4 catches, 50, and a touchdown. So, yep, that is it. Miami of Ohio takes down Dayton. Which means, like I said, you got to be careful where you go. They got very unlucky where that arrow pointed for them. Because of that, they're going home. Which is a shame, but it's what happens. That's the game. This is what happens, folks. I want you to know that. There's no fairness in a game of risk and reward. Dayton is now gone. We have 245 teams left to go. We'll get a full look at the map soon. But Kansas is getting landed on for the 3rd time. I don't think they can really face anybody, so they're just going to expand. Going south again, they're going to go a little bit more to the east this time. And for Kansas, that means that they are going to be going down towards here. I believe that's more here. I want to say that's where it is. I think, but it's like a slight little tilt. I'm thinking they probably just graze here. I'm going to give them this land right here. So they get this territory. They claim this. Boom. Shot a bing, shot a boom. Perfect. So Kansas gets that one. And now we spin again. Honestly, I'm sure I sound very repetitive, but I'm telling you the truth. For me, this is all entertaining. As we're going to North Carolina, Gardner-Webb, the running Bulldogs are up. Let's see what they can come up with here for a win. And they're going to be going to the Northwest. That don't sound good. Let's see if there's anybody in the area. No, there is not. They're going to survive. They have enough space and territory to get by here. Good for them. Good for them. Stay alive. I have a soft spot for them. I really do have a soft spot for Gardner-Webb. And they are going to make it, and they're going to survive that. So they're now in this territory here. Gardner-Webb growing slowly but surely. Not just my name. That's probably the second time I've said that joke, which tells you how tired I am. We spin the wheel. This wheel. Treacherous wheel. The Trailblazers. They got to be real careful. They have to go west. They have to go east if they want to survive. And they're not. They're going to go west and slightly south. I am pretty sure Utah Tech just screwed themselves. I am pretty sure they did. Yup. They're facing UNLV. This is going to go very wrong, or we're going to have a very big upset. UNLV is defending. That's what makes this even weirder. So it's Utah Tech. So it looks to be, starts off with a 3-and-out, and then an interception by Kobe Tracy. And it looks to be that Utah Tech throws the interception. UNLV goes 3-and-out, unable to capitalize off of it. And then you have Utah Tech getting the ball back, and they go down the field and they score and they make a field goal. A big play by Kobe Tracy to Ricky Johnson set that one up. Connor Brooksby makes the kick. Tech leads 3-0. Following drive, a big 80-yard touchdown pass from Jaden Mayava to Kaleo Balunge, 80-yard touchdown. UNLV has the lead 7-3. A 3-and-out for what looks to be Utah Tech. Then a short drive for UNLV. It results in a punt. A punt for Tech. A punt for UNLV. And there was a penalty involved in that too with an offensive holding. Utah Tech goes down the field and they fall up just short. They had to punt. UNLV next. And they do nothing. Utah Tech goes down, is able to move a little bit, and they end up having a punt. And then UNLV with the ball makes a long drive going down the field, including the biggest play being from Mayava to Ricky White for 32 yards. That ends with a touchdown from Mayava to Ricky White for 3 yards. So UNLV leads at that point 14-3. Utah Tech needs to make some kind of rebound. And they're unable to do so on the first drive after have to punt. UNLV gets the ball back to get a nice little drive going. Mayava to Kaleo Balunge for 43 yards. And it ends with a field goal kick by Jose Pisano being good. 17-3 now the score for UNLV. A punt by Utah Tech. UNLV gets it back again. And they're in just cruise control at this point. Mayava completes a big touchdown pass to Ricky White for 18 yards. They're up 24-3. This game's all but over. The Trailblazers, 3-and-out. UNLV goes on the field again, and another more points. Kick by Jose Pisano's good. They're up 27-3. You go to UNLV, then you look at Utah Tech, and they have another 3-and-out. UNLV goes down the field. Little penalty by offensive holding sets them back a bit, but it doesn't stop Donovan Lester from running it in from 23 yards out for a touchdown. UNLV leads 34-3. You guys know how this goes. Another field goal by Connor Brooksby makes it 34-6. But the rest of the way, just absolutely nothing. Another field goal by Brooksby later on. And the game ends with UNLV winning 34-9. Not close. Was not close. Kobe Tracy didn't have himself a great game. 11-29, 146, and an interception. Decent running from Ronnie Walker Jr., 16 of 75. Bo Sparks was the leading receiver, 3 catches, 74. UNLV size, Mayava, 17 of 25, 311, 3 TDs, no interceptions. Vinny Davis, 17 carries, 81 yards. Ricky White and Kaleo Balunge were the top receivers. 8, 130, 2 touchdowns, 2, 123, and a touchdown. Massive games from UNLV. They take out Tech. Like I said, they had to be very careful where they went, and they didn't listen. They end up getting absolutely obliterated. And they pay the price. They pay the price for it. So, y'all know what that means. UNLV has now left Nevada and made it into Utah. And that also means that the Utah Tech Trailblazers have to come off the wheel. They've been removed. They're gone. 244 teams remain. As we move now into this territory for Bowling Green and Ohio, the Falcons. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to go into the west and slightly south. I think they do avoid any attacks. I think they do. Yes, they do. They're going to the west and slightly south. I mean, that pretty much puts them right here. So Bowling Green avoids Toledo, able to expand. Good for them. They're a good team this year. They were a good team this year. I would hate to see them go up against Toledo and be eliminated so quickly. Good play there. Good play. And so now Bowling Green expands a little bit. Let's see which team gets another opportunity to expand or even have a game. SMU. There's a chance they could have a match, but let's see how the wheel determines. They're going to have to go to the northwest. And in Texas, oh, yeah, they're done for. Oh, they might have a problem. They're going to the northwest. I think I'm going to have to give it to them in North Texas. I think it's sharp enough I could say North Texas. So they're going to avoid TCU, but they got to face North Texas. And North Texas is the defending team. We have another all FBS matchup. This may go very wrong. We're going to find out if SMU made a big mistake. And so we start with a touchdown for North Texas on the first drive of the game. Chandler Rogers to Isaiah Johnson, 10 yards. North Texas leads 7-0. SMU, 3-and-out. North Texas goes down the field again, and they score another touchdown. Chandler Rogers to Christian Lee, 5 yards out, 14-0. Another 3-and-out for SMU, and North Texas driving down the field a little bit at a time, making their way down. Noah Rauschenberg makes his kick at 17-0, North Texas. SMU makes their long drive down the field, their first big drive of the game, and it ends with an interception from Kevin Jennings. Wow. So North Texas now has the ball again, and ends in 3-and-out. SMU, ball again. They actually complete this drive. L.J. Johnson Jr. runs it in from 5 yards, touchdown. Leads now down to 10. 3-and-out for North Texas. SMU has to punt. North Texas, 3-and-out. First play of the drive for SMU, 40-yard touchdown play from Kevin Jennings to Jake Bailey. It's a 3-point game. North Texas goes down the field following right after, completes an 80-yard drive that ends with a big run by Oscar Attaway from 15 yards out. North Texas now leads 24-14. SMU trying to respond, throws an interception. And North Texas gets in field goal range, and Rauschenberg's kick is good. 27-14 North Texas. And a really, really long drive by SMU starting their own 20. They get down to their opponent's 5, and the kick by Colin Rogers is no good. It's blocked. North Texas keeps their lead of 27-14. They go down the field, and they have to punt. Then SMU gets it back, and they get a touchdown real quick. Thanks to Jalen Knighton. Jalen Knighton with the 12-yard touchdown run. Some 2 big passes to Brunello Brinson and Jordan Curley made that happen. Combined passes resulted in 57 yards down the field. North Texas now holds on to a 6-point lead. The next play is a 3-and-out from North Texas. And now SMU's got a chance to tie it up. They go for the field goal instead. And Colin Rogers' kick is good. It's a 3-point game. Another 3-and-out from North Texas. And down the field goes SMU. And the pass gets intercepted by Jennings again. Now North Texas going down the field a little bit at a time from their own 10. And they're able to finish it off a 90-yard drive with a 22-yard receiving touchdown from Rogers to Damon Ward Jr. They're back up by 10. SMU trying to make their way down the field again. They get within field goal range. Kick by Colin Rogers is good. It's 34-27. 7-point lead now for North Texas. Rogers throws an interception on the opponent's 39 after a big play to Attaway. So now SMU has life. They go down the field, and Cameron Wheaton for 7 yards. He runs it in for the touchdown. We're tied at 34. And so on the next drive, on their own Something ain't right. Something ain't right. They kick by North Texas. They get a good drive. They kick it, and it's 37-34. And now the ball goes to SMU, who gets a really good return. And they are in field goal range. They make the field goal. It's now tied at 37. Now they're in overtime. And in overtime, they're going back and forth. Chandler Rogers completes it to Roderick Burns for a 20-yard touchdown. They're up 44-37. SMU's turn. They go down the field from their spot on their own 35. On North Texas' 35. They score a touchdown. Cameron Wheaton from 9 yards out on a run. Tied at 44. Give it back to North Texas. On the opponent's 25, they get it in. They punch it in. It's a touchdown from Rogers to Jordan Smart, 2 yards out. They lead 51-44. And so the final drive results here. They're on their own 35, and SMU's trying to make a play happen. They were unable to get in range and advance the ball much. So it's 4th and 9 on the opponent's 34. And the kick by Colin Rogers is no good. North Texas beats SMU. In triple overtime, SMU loses to North Texas 51-44. Wow. North Texas squeaks it out. Jennings did not have a great game. A lot of yardage, but those interceptions were bad. They costed him. Great game for Jordan Curley, though. 4 catches, 96 yards, no touchdowns. North Texas, though, what a game for Rogers. Career-making. 28-41, 329, 5 TDs and interception. Great game. And I can say the same thing for Oscar Attaway. 14 runs, 71 yards, 1 touchdown. Just great performance all the way around from this North Texas squad to stay strong and hold on and take down the big dog SMU, this year's conference champion. That's a big loss for SMU. So that means the Mustangs are going out and the North Texas Mean Green are taking the territory. That's big. That is big, folks. That is big. And so SMU is gone. And now you got this weird pattern with TCU and North Texas. But in the end, it don't matter. We're down to 243 teams to go. We're going to do this for another 20 minutes, and then we are going to close up the stream. The McNeese State Cowboys have been selected again. And for those Cowboys, they're going to be going to the Northeast. And Northeast for them will mean they take this territory. So real easy solution there. No surprises at all. McNeese State coming in and raising hell. So they are starting to really gain their territory and build up a bit in Louisiana. That state's slowly becoming more and more decisive by the minute. Well, the next spin's on the way. And this means we're going to see the Oklahoma State Cowboys get into action here. And they're going to go to the Southeast. And for Oklahoma State, that means they're taking this territory right here. No debate about it. They got this one. So they now have the territory south of OU. But if OU goes to the northeast, they have to face Oklahoma State. And if Oklahoma State just goes south in general, it's over. As long as they don't go west. So let's see. Got something to keep an eye on. They're really close now. And the Duke Blue Devils are going to get active here. They are in an interesting situation. They're in a bit of a trap themselves. But can they get out of it? I don't think so. I think they're stuck here. This is the southwest. And I think with how tight North Carolina is, they're going to have to play somebody. And I'm right. This might be one of the biggest matches we have of this stream. Duke and UNC. UNC will be the defending team. Duke has had enough. They said we need to get our territory back. We need to take them out while we're hot. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're going after UNC. Can they do it? Well, the first drive by UNC results in a touchdown from May to Hampton, 5 yards. They're up 7-0. Following, 3 and out for Duke. Then UNC with the ball again, goes down the field, quick touchdown, quick field goal, good by Noah Burnett, 10-0. Following drive, you have success from Duke finally. A good field goal by Todd Polino, 10-3. UNC punts. Duke, 3 and out. UNC goes down the field, kicks another field goal. Noah Burnett, it's good. 13-3 UNC leads. Duke punts. UNC, 3 and out. Duke, 3 and out. UNC going down the field. Chunk yardage for Marion Hampton. He ran on all 5 plays, and it ends with a 3-yard touchdown run. UNC now leads 20-3. 3 and out quickly for Duke afterwards. And on the first play of the following drive, UNC, Drake May completes a touchdown pass to Chris Culliver for 41 yards. And UNC's up 27-3. This may be over for Duke at this point if they don't get going. 3 and out for Duke. A 3 and out for UNC. Duke starts getting the ball moving, but they fall short of midfield. They have to punt. UNC again, making a long drive down the field if they can from their own 8, but they fall short of midfield, have to punt. 3 and out for Duke. Then you've got UNC on their opposing 27 with a great return. Drake May completes it to J.J. Jones for an 8-yard touchdown. UNC now leads 34-3. This game's all but over. I don't even know if I want to continue with this. We're just going to continue. We're just going to skip right through this. There's a touchdown by Duke. Grayson Loftus to Jordan Moore, 56 yards. Big play, but it's too late. Keep going down to here. Another touchdown from Duke, make it 34-17. They're trying to close their way back in. Loftus to Calhoun, but UNC responds. Drake May to Kobe Pacehour for 23 yards, touchdown, 41-17. This one's over, folks. The rest of the way, one more touchdown, a run by British Brooks for 5 yards. UNC wins this thing 48-17. Duke had no shot. This simulation has been run a lot of times. Only just under 6% of the time, UNC wins. Just under 60% of the time. And in this specific game, Loftus, 16 of 27, 188, 2 touchdowns. Duke run game was great. Jalen Coleman, 18 of 95. Jordan Moore receiving was top dog. 5 catches, 101, and a touchdown. Go to UNC, Drake May, 28 of 43, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. On the rushing side, Amarian Hampton, again, the star, 19 carries, 138, a touchdown. Top receiver was Devontae Walker, 8 catches, 104, no touchdowns. UNC was absolutely killing it in this game. They were crushing it. Good on them. They took down Duke, defended themselves, and they take over the land. They take over whatever little piece of land was left here, and now Duke has no home. In fact, they're not going to exist anymore. We're starting to see this trend where I told you guys what would happen. The defending teams are going to have a little bit of strength over the attacking. So you'd rather be a defending team than an attacking team if you want a realistic chance. And in this case, UNC benefited there. They're now the top dog. And they are growing very quickly in the state of North Carolina. We got 15 minutes left to go. Let's see how much further we can get. So we can remove the Duke Blue Devils. They're done. 242 teams left. Hopefully by the end of this video, we'll be down to 240. Mississippi State, the Bulldogs, going to get active. Let's see what they do. They're going to go to the Northeast. And by going to the Northeast, the Mississippi State Bulldogs are going to have pretty much nobody to face. They should be fine. They're going to go right into this territory. If you're going from the center, you're going to go right up here, and you're going to take this. We're going to get in this little territory here to the west. Right there. Perfect. So Mississippi State staying alive through all this. So a lot of expansion still expected here with the 15 minutes left to go. But we'll see if anybody gets active. Lindenwood. First time we've landed on them in this video. And in this stream in general. They've been a decent team this year. But they've got to go to the south. I believe that is the southwest. And they're going to have to take this territory here. Which, again, I don't mind giving them. I don't mind it at all. They continue to expand. They continue doing well. Good for them. So, Lindenwood. expands. Is there going to be any more fights? Let's see if there's any more. The Hoosiers of Indiana. They're going to try to see how far they can go. They're going to go to the Southwest as well. And by going to the Southwest, they're going to take this territory right here. And so now they've got a little bit more land in their home state of Indiana. As you spin the wheel again, like I said, we have eliminated so far 17 teams from this thing. And the Pitt Panthers, this could get interesting. Pitt is in a 3-team division in the same county. 3 teams in the same county. They could either play Duquesne or they're going to get Robert Morris based off the way it's split. And they're going in that direction specifically. And based off where the logo is, do they get the space we're talking about? That is the question. We're talking they got Duquesne. They're going to avoid RMU and take on Duquesne. So Duquesne will have to defend itself against. They're going to have to defend themselves. They don't have a choice. Pitt's coming in full force. And Pitt, let's see if Pitt can win this thing. We start with the long drive by Duquesne that results in a field goal. They're up 3-0 to start. 3-and-out Pitt, 3-and-out Dukes. Then you got a 3-and-out for the Panthers. A 3-and-out for the Dukes. The Panthers get something going. They get a nice drive together. Ends in a field goal for Ben Sauls. That one's good. Tied at 3. Dukes go 3-and-out. Pitt gets the ball back. They get a nice drive down the field. And with another field goal for Ben Sauls, they take the lead 6-3. Duquesne gets a decent run. Gets some decent moving. They move the ball okay. But they end in a punt regardless. Don't make it to midfield. Then Velo makes a throw. And it's intercepted by Duquesne. They get the ball back. They try to move the ball as much as they can, but the kick by Brian Brusdowitz is no good. Pitt leads 6-3. Pitt gets the ball back. They're going down the field again. Good drive. Ends in another field goal for Ben Sauls. They're up 9-3. And then Duquesne gets a nice, decent drive as well. A good play by Parantes completed to Keyshawn Brown, 41 yards. They get down to the 1-yard line, and they kick the field goal, and it's no good. It's blocked. But Velo, on his own 1-yard line, throws it to Gerard Means. He completes it for -2, which means it's a safety. Pittsburgh's now up 9-5. The ball has to go back to Duquesne. Duquesne has to punt. A 3-and-out for Pitt. Duquesne gets it back, and they get good field position on a really good return. And in the end, Malik Thomas scores a touchdown. Duquesne now leads 12-9 on Pitt. Pitt, unable to get something going, they have to punt. Then they give it back to Duquesne. Duquesne throws an interception, Parantes. And now Pitt has the ball in good position. They make a field goal. Ben Sauls again. It's tied at 12. Duquesne goes down the field. Goes on a full 80-yard drive down the field that ends in a touchdown to Joey Isabella, 46 yards by Parantes. Duquesne now leads 19-12. A decent performance. Decent performance so far for Parantes despite the couple interceptions he had. Pitt has the ball, 3-and-out. Duquesne 3-and-out. Pitt gets a little bit of movement but unable to get anything going. They fall short. They have to punt. Duquesne finishes with the ball. And in the end, we have a massive upset. The Duquesne Dukes, an FCS football team, has taken down the Pitt Panthers. That is not an exaggeration. The Pitt Panthers have been taken down by the Duquesne Dukes. 19-12 is the final here. Duquesne has won this just under 66% of the time. That tells you how good the Dukes have been this year. Christian Velo for Pitt is 14 of 27, 121 interception. Bad performance for him. Not really any strong performances from this team. Duquesne, though, Parantes, 14 of 29, 243, a TD and interception. Edward Robinson, the top rusher, 8 for 62. And Keyshawn Brown had a great game. 7 catches, 146. Duquesne earned this win. They fought tooth and nail, and they earned everything they got. Pitt has been eliminated. In a, again, massive, shocking upset. That just does not happen. And that's why I told you guys it is so important that you are the defending team and not the attacking team. Had Pitt been the defending team, I don't think Duquesne wins this. But the Dukes do it anyway, and they take out the Pitt Panthers. I don't know how to explain what we just witnessed. But this is what imperialism is. Nothing is guaranteed. So we have an elimination. Goodbye to the Pittsburgh Panthers as a shocking moment here in the Imperialism series. And LIU's up. The LIU Sharks. There's really nowhere they can go. This will probably result in a matchup. Let's see where they go. They're going to try to go to the southeast if it's possible, but let's see. LIU's down here. If they try to go to the southeast, I'd have to bring in the jersey. I don't think that's what it's going to do. I can't really give them this little land here because that's part of this. So we're going to have to respin. I will not make them travel over water. So a respin for the LIU Sharks would make them go to the west and slightly south, into the south. So southwest would mean they're going to take on Wagner. So it's a battle between Brooklyn and Staten Island, the two boroughs in New York. Two of the boroughs. Wagner will be the defending team, and LIU will be the team that goes to attack. Now, Wagner may have the advantage because of this, but let's see what happens. LIU starts by getting an interception off of Wagner. This one was off of Steven Krajewski, and they get a decent performance. The kick by Michael Coney is good. LIU leads 3-0. Then you've got Wagner with the ball, trying to make some moves downfield. Krajewski gets a nice drive after big long completion to Kobe Ray Reed. Krajewski finishes with a 9-yard touchdown pass to Mark Didio. Wagner leads 7-3. So now LIU has to do something. They get a nice long drive down the field, some decent yardage, but it ends in a field goal that was good by Michael Coney. Wagner is only winning by 1. 3 and out, and then a decent drive by Wagner again. This one ends with a field goal by Ryan Lisner, which is good. Wagner leads now 10-6. The following drive, LIU goes down the field, results in a field goal again, this time again by Michael Coney, which is good. 10-9, Wagner, up by 1. Krajewski going down the field, trying to make something happen, ends in a punt, and then a 3 and out for LIU, and then another punt by Wagner, and then another punt by LIU, a 3 and out for Wagner, and then a long drive by LIU down the field from their own 23 results in a field goal. Michael Coney again gives them the lead, 12-10. Wagner goes 3 and out. LIU again pressing their way down the field. They go long. They're trying to give themselves a little bit more of a cushion, and they end up in a field goal again, and Michael Coney makes it. It's good. 15-10 lead for the Sharks, and Wagner ran out of time. The LIU Sharks of Brooklyn beat the Wagner Seahawks of Staten Island here in this simulator, 15-10. In the end, let's talk about the biggest performances. We're not going to worry about the QBs. Because for LIU, Pat Bowen did pretty good, 10 carries, 64. But it's the kicking that stood out. Michael Coney, 5 of 5, made all his kicks, scored all 15 points. On the opposite side, not a great game for Krajewski. 8 for 16, 182, a TD and an interception. Top receiver of the day was Jalen Benelli, 2 catches, 100. Not much groundwork either from either team. But in the end, it's the Sharks that win. The attacking team gets the victory here. So the Wagner Seahawks are going to have to go. Wagner eliminated by a rival in Brooklyn. Who would have thought that would happen? Not me. I did not think that was going to happen. But it did. So Wagner has been eliminated. Let's scroll down and get them. The Wagner Seahawks have been eliminated by the LIU Sharks. Now, one more. We're going to try to get one more elimination, and then we'll end the stream. The Northern Iowa Panthers. They're going to spin the spinner. And they're going to try to go up to the northwest. More north than west, but in this case, that's going to put them right up in the territory just above them. They're good. They got this county covered. Once again, you and I just avoiding any kind of attacks, continuing to expand just a little bit at a time. The smartest thing they could do. So we'll do another spin. Remember, 240 teams remaining. We started with 259. We've cut down 19 teams up to this point. And we have an interesting situation. Hawaii is entering the map. They decided they don't want to stay on their land. They want to try to expand. They're going to try to go to the northeast. And the question is, will that put them up against anybody? This is where it gets difficult. If we're going to go from their logo, right? Or these would be sharps. That would be putting them this way. I'd have to give them this. They're the only team that can go over water, honestly. If you are a team that is on water, like them, they're the only ones that have this advantage. They've made it into the mainland. Now here's the thing. Now that you've made it to the mainland, if you lose in the mainland, everything's lost, including Hawaii. It is all lost. It doesn't matter. But they've expanded regardless, so now they've made themselves a target. So they need to be very careful what happens from here on out. You don't want to be the team that gets eliminated because you overstep too soon. Speaking of overstep, here's Texas Tech. I think they've got a little bit of room, so they're probably just going to expand, but let's see. They're going to go to the east. And they do. They have a lot of cushion out here. So they are going to move out to the east. That's not what I meant to do. I need a better color than that. That wasn't the team color. My bad. There we go. And we're going to erase this line. Boom. Texas Tech has their territory. We spin the wheel again. Remember, people, we need one more elimination, then the stream will end. We have 20 teams we want to get in total eliminated. Illinois State Redbirds are next. I know exactly which team that is. You will see who that is. The Illinois State Redbirds. That's why I couldn't remember them. They're going to be north slightly to the west. Let's see what that means. This is the Redbirds. I call them the Cardinals. They get very confusing, but they have enough cushion going to the north that they don't have to worry about facing northern Illinois just yet. So they will avoid them. They're going to make it to right about there. So the Illinois State Redbirds, stay safe. Again. We're going to try to rebuild this line. I think I shrunk it too much. Perfect. Fixed it. So Illinois State continuing to grow their knowledge and control of the land. The next spin is on its way. And it's the Towson Tigers. The Towson Tigers. In Maryland. Now this could get interesting. I think they have a little bit of room so they could afford to go in a certain direction. They're going to go to the northwest though. And for Towson, who is not here. I just realized I didn't put Towson in here. Wow, did I miss a team. I am so sorry, everybody. Let me make that correction real quick. I did not realize that I forgot Towson. If I had Towson, it wouldn't have been this bad. Okay. Let me make this correction, and it'll be good. Towson University. Got to make sure where they're located. Got to use Wikipedia. Again, I do everything as accurate as possible. Wherever they're located has to be in the county. So Towson University is located in Towson, Maryland. Towson, Maryland is Baltimore County. So they would be, oh, they're just above DC. Okay, that's where they were. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to add a logo in here. I realized what I forgot to do. So I'm going to add a logo here. Let me add something. Here's what I'm going to do. Let me go digging into my files, and I'll open this up. I cannot believe I forgot about the Towson Tigers. Got it. So I will make sure you guys see it shortly. I'm just shrinking it down so I get it to where it needs to go. I realized I missed a team and I completely forgot about Towson. I know where they are though. They're right outside of Baltimore County, which is where Morgan State is. So Morgan State is right below Towson. So I'm taking care of this right now. Don't you worry, people. I got it. Done. Took care of it. So Towson is now filled. I can bring him back in now for you guys to see. All right. So Towson, right here. Here's Towson. So they're going to have to go in the direction they said was to the, let's see. Towson had to go to the northwest. And can they do that? Yes, they can. Being in this county, look at all the room they got up to go north. As long as they don't go south, they should be fine. They're going to want to go to the northwest, so that would mean maybe going this direction. They're going to take the neighboring county. Which, again, perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. I realize I forgot to do that up the thickness. There we go. So now Towson has all this space. That's the Towson Tigers. I completely forgot about them. My apologies again, especially if you're a member of that school. I should have known. I knew I missed a school. It's in the wheel, though, which is the important thing. It would have been bad if it wasn't in the wheel and I forgot it. Robert Morris is next. They need to be careful where they spin. If they go south, they'll be our final matchup of the night. They're going to the southwest. I think that's going to do it. Yup. It's Robert Morris versus Duquesne to end it. That will be our final game of the night. Will be Robert Morris and Duquesne. So Duquesne has to defend himself again. And this time it's going to be from Robert Morris. And if Robert Morris wins this will be interesting. First drive, Robert Morris ends it in a field goal. Jason Jenkins, the kick is good. They're up 3-0. Duquesne punts. Robert Morris, 3 and out. Duquesne finishes with a field goal from Brian Brusdowitz. Tied at 3. RMU, punt. Duquesne, 3 and out. RMU, 3 and out. Duquesne, punt. RMU, punt. Duquesne, 3 and out. I said Duquesne. RMU. RMU has a punt. And then you have Duquesne, who gets a good drive finally going, and Darius Parantes is able to complete it to Darrell Powell Jr. for a 20-yard touchdown. A nice long drive, especially key play being a pass to Kashawn Brown for 33 yards. So they're up 10-3 now. Robert Morris, unable to make something happen on their drive. They only go 15 yards, punt it. Duquesne, 3 and out. 3 and out RMU. And then the ball goes back to Duquesne. They go down the field and ends up being a 4-yard touchdown pass from Parantes to Joey Isabella. They now got a 17-3 lead. RMU needs to do something now to get this lead back. And they go on a 3 and out. Duquesne gets the ball again. They go down the field. They get another field goal and they make it. It's good. Bruce DeWitt makes it 20-3. Also, the key play on that one was a run by Edward Robinson for 31 yards. RMU has a chance. 3 and out again. Pass from Duquesne's intercepted. And then RMU still can't do anything. Game's already over. Duquesne defends their land once again for the second time in a row. Beats RMU 20-3. The Duquesne Dukes are doing it. They're beating up on teams. First it was Pitt. Now it's RMU. RMU side, performances, nothing notable. Outside of Andre Cooper II getting 2 catches for 62. In Duquesne side, 15 of 24, 199, 2 TDs, interception. Taj Butts and Edward Robinson were the leading rushers, combining for 109 yards on 16 carries. Duquesne's receiving wise, Kashawn Brown, the star again, 7 catches, 118. He's making this thing work, and he's helping them out a lot. Duquesne gets the win and eliminates Robert Morris, who was attacking again. Which proves my point once again. Stop trying to attack. Because when you try to attack, you make yourself look weaker. Do you not? And that's what's happening. In the end, RMU loses from attacking. And Duquesne now has eliminated 2 teams that were within their county, and now they own a big part of Pennsylvania. And now this is the final look at the map. We'll go state by state so you guys can see the differences. In Washington, you see the expansion. The Vandals took some space in Washington and eliminated Eastern Washington to do so. The Washington State made it down south a little bit. Oregon expands by beating Oregon State, who challenged them. In the state of California, UC Davis gets some land, taking out a big opponent there. I believe that was Sacramento State. Nevada expanded into California. They didn't face anybody, but they expanded. Let's see. Nobody down here. Let's go down to USC. Took out UCLA. Took a little bit of territory there. In Nevada, UNLV made some big moves. Took some more control of this corner of the state and took out Utah Tech to take some land in Utah. In Arizona, you have the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks expanding their territory along with Arizona State. In New Mexico, nothing. In Colorado, you saw the Northern Colorado Bears try to make some moves. The Buffs beat them. Colorado State had a challenge from somebody in Wyoming, the Cowboys, and they failed. And Colorado now has a piece. The Rams now have a piece of Wyoming. Over here's a little bit of expansion from NDSU in North Dakota. A little bit from the Coyotes of South Dakota. Nothing in Nebraska. In Kansas, a lot of expansion from the Jayhawks, nothing from Kansas State. You come down to Oklahoma, a little bit of expansion from OU and OSU. Could be a big matchup that happens in part 2, in our part 2 stream, but that's a big game itself. Come down to Texas, you got an expansion from Texas Tech. Hawaii makes their arrival onto the mainland and has taken a piece of Texas. UTSA avoids facing Incarnate Word and expands downward. You see down here, North Texas took out an opponent here, eliminated them, and took their territory. TCU expanded up, so they have a weird look. In Louisiana, which is very interesting, McNeese, a lot of expanding. LSU takes out Southern. The Southeastern Louisiana Lions took over a lot of state here. Nicholas State, a little bit of expansion. Same thing with the Northwestern State Demons. Go into Mississippi, and Jackson State had expansion, as well as the Delta Devils and the Bulldogs. Arkansas, no expansion. In Missouri, a little bit of expansion from Southeast Missouri State, the Redhawks. Go north a little bit and inward surrounding southern Illinois. Linden would take a little bit of space as well. Look up in Iowa, some expansion from Drake and UNI. Go to Washington, go to Minnesota, and Minnesota and St. Thomas are staying separate right now. A little bit of expansion though. Nothing in Wisconsin. In Illinois, you guys can see a lot of movement there. Illinois State moving up to close gaps with Northern Illinois, and Illinois itself moving over to the right. So a lot of land filling up in Illinois. Go down into Kentucky, or well, let's go to Indiana. Indiana, Ball State, and Indiana, the only teams that made moves. Go into Michigan, and the Wolverines took out the Eastern Michigan Eagles, while Michigan State expanded up. In Ohio, Bowling Green expanded, so did Akron. And Miami took out Dayton, who challenged them, wrongfully so. Go into Kentucky. Austin Peay from Tennessee expand into their territory, so now they're in the state. That's all the action they have. Tennessee, nothing else really happened there. Let's take a look at Alabama. The North Alabama Lions took some territory, as did Auburn. Go into Florida. FIU took some land, and so did FA&M. Go to Georgia. Kennesaw State expanded a little bit to the west. In South Carolina, there wasn't really much movement. Only thing you had was from North Carolina, which was Charlotte moving and taking a chunk of the northern part of the state. Gardner-Webb expanded in North Carolina. UNC takes out Duke and NC Central to take over that whole county. And ECU expanded up. Go to Virginia. No action in Virginia. In West Virginia, same story. You go to Maryland, and we had the arrival of Towson, because I forgot to add them. And they got some little bit of land. And Maryland taking out Navy. DC still remains untouched. Same goes with Delaware. In Pennsylvania, Duquesne takes out all the members of its county. One upset in Pitt, and then another not so much of an upset in Robert Morris. So they now own their whole county. They've expanded. Same goes for Villanova. Took out one of the big teams in Philly. which was the Penn Quakers. You take a look in Jersey, and Rutgers expands a little bit up to the northwest. In New York, a lot happened in New York here. Let's start with the city. LIU takes over Staten Island, which belonged to Wagner. And Marist takes out Sacred Heart, who tried to overextend their welcome. And Marist made them pay dearly. Took over a little bit more in the state and into Connecticut. Buffalo expanded and Cornell expanded. In Connecticut, not much movement there outside of Rhode Island peeking its way and taking a chunk of the southeastern part. Stonehill takes out Brown and now has a part of Rhode Island. And in the state of Massachusetts, Harvard, avoiding any conflict with any of these teams, has made it into New Hampshire, where Dartmouth and UNH have not moved, and neither has Maine's Black Bears. And that is the look of the states at the end of part 1. Now again, I just spoke a lot. I may not have a voice tomorrow. But it was so much fun doing this and having you guys on to do this stream. If you guys enjoyed it, please let me know. I'm going to try to do another one of these soon. The intention is maybe I try it Monday or Tuesday. I'll see what I can do during the week, because I kind of want to make this thing roll along pretty quickly. Hopefully get it done by the time we hit the end of the new year. At least have half of it done by then. So we'll do what we can to make this thing work. But thank you all for tuning in. I know it was a long stream, but I appreciate you all tuning in. You guys are great, as always. We are 8 followers away from hitting 30. We got 2 more during the stream, and I want to thank you if you were one of those people. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this on Twitch, thank you for tuning in always. If you guys haven't already, please follow. It helps the channel grow and get more exposure out there in the Twitch sports community. Thank you again. And we will be back, I believe, on Monday to do some reviews of what's happened this week. We'll do a Brian Mansell show episode, talking some breakdowns and whatever we can. That may not be on YouTube because of the copyright issues. We're going to make something work. So, if you guys haven't already, thank you for tuning in. Make sure to follow and subscribe. I'll give you guys my links from the old Lone Host episode. This is not it. This is from when I was streaming. This one. Here we go. At BA Mansell on Twitter. At The Brian Mansell Show on Instagram. And on YouTube at The Brian Mansell Show. And if you're watching this on Twitch, same thing, The Brian Mansell Show. Make sure to follow and sub to all those things to stay up to date with all the news and the latest content. Once again, thank you all for tuning in. Back on Monday. Monday with some new stuff. Promise you. Until then, have a great day. Have a great weekend. And I'm telling you, enjoy your football tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of controversy. So make sure to enjoy it. Have a good one, everybody.
Broke down on the interstate. I didn't need that fucking car anyways. I think it's still got Colorado plates on it. When I drink, I lose my mind. I call 1, 2, 3 too many times. You probably fucked up with some guy you don't like again. And I know that it's wrong to think that you would change from me. I don't know what's wrong with me. Broke down on the interstate. I didn't need that fucking car anyways. I think it's still got Colorado plates on it. When I drink, I lose my mind. I called 1, 2, 3 too many times. You probably fucked up with some guy you don't like again. And I know that it's wrong to think that you would change from me. I don't know what's wrong with me. And I hope that you're stuck in the same old goddamn place you left me off. Oh, what's wrong with me? Down on the interstate. I didn't need that fucking car anyways. I think it's still got Colorado plates on it.